Hibs. Hibs are on a little run of themselves now. They're 5 games unbeaten. As I say, the last 2 they've won quite convincingly. And as I say, they were in the Scottish Cup semi-final, looking to get to the final. That's been turned around, so the Hearts fans are here today. They've had a tremendous week, Hearts. They've won the SP Under-21 League. They won the Under-18 Youth Cup yesterday, and they want to make it a hat-trick today.
Robbo, tell me about Hearts. I mean, I know you're passionate about them. I know you were brought up a Hibs fan, and you're sitting there close to the Hearts fans just now, so you don't want to say too much about that. But tell me about Hearts. I mean, what's happened since they won the Scottish Cup? You were there. Where have they gone for the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think the expectation was very high, Charlie, after they won the Scottish Cup. People saw a tremendous challenge in the league. They won the Cup, and everybody thought, yep, here we go. But the problem Jim Jeffries has had is he's had to dismantle teams. Teams have come in. Paul Ritchie's left, Alan Johnson's left, Neil McCann's went to Rangers, and he's losing all his good players. Every time he has a good player.
He's got money though, Robbo, hasn't he?
He's got money now, and he's used it well. The lad Tomicek's come in, isn't fully match fit. He'll need a rest in summer. He'll come back stronger. But since the Christmas break, Charlie, Jim Jeffries took them to their usual haunt in Algarve in Portugal, worked hard on them, and they've come back, and out with Rangers, they've been the most consistent team in the Premier League.
The stakes are high today for Hearts, John. Do you think they'll get this point? Yeah,
I don't see Hearts losing today at all. They're in a good run of form. They have faltered the last couple of weeks, but a draw at home at St Johnstone and a 1-0 defeat away at Rangers, it's not that bad a result, and I fully expect them, following the 2 defeats from Hibernian, to come out here fired up, rode on by a slightly partisan crowd, and take all 3 points.
We knew you were going to say that. We knew it.
He's still a Hibs fan, him.
Not at all, Charlie. Never been known.
John, for the moment, thanks. We'll come back to you. Well, here is how close it is. Hearts very much in the driving seat with a 2-point advantage over Motherwell. A draw this afternoon, and they're in Europe. Well, it's been something of a roller coaster season for Hearts. Here's how it's panned out. Jim Jeffries signed only 2 players over the summer, Hamilton striker Gary Wales and the French defender Fabien Leclerc. Their season kicked off away to St Johnstone. A superb solo effort from Gary McSwagan opened the scoring. The afternoon was rounded off in style through the combination of McSwagan and Colin Cameron. The following week, they were brought back to earth when they played host to champions Rangers. Claudio Reyna scored the first and last in a 4-0 win for the visitors. A 1-1 draw with Hibernian was followed by the visit of Aberdeen, a match in which Gary McSwagan hit top form.
Cameron, no drive here, down, McSwagan. A dam, lovely 1-2. What a superb strike from Gary McSwagan. And it might drop here for McSwagan. He gets yet another one.
In September, Chairman Chris Robinson announced an £8 million cash injection from the Scottish Media Group and promised the money would go towards new players. In October, the side took on Kilmarnock, and Colin Cameron's 83rd minute goal cancelled out Alan Mahood's earlier strike. Spaniard Wanjo would have been forgiven for thinking his last-minute goal was enough to seal victory. But a goal from Christophe Cocard denied them all 3 points. With 9 games played, Hearts sat 4th in the table, holding 2 games in hand over 3rd place Dundee United. But a poor run was just around the corner. A trip to Rugby Park in November produced a 2-2 draw and extended Hearts' run of games without victory to 7.
Neesmith against Canero to put one by the Hearts man. There's Gary McSwagan scores. Melbourne in trouble, and it's Paul Ritchie who makes it 2. Mitchell's cross is It's Alan Mahood. Well, it's shot. It's the equaliser.
4 draws and 3 defeats saw Hearts slip to 6th place in the table, 17 points behind leaders Rangers and 10 behind 3rd place Dundee United. Jeffries brought 2 new faces to the club. Jamaican international Fitzroy Simpson was signed from Portsmouth, along with former Rangers defender Gordon Petric from AEK Athens. On the field, things got worse for Hearts at Pittodrie against bottom club Aberdeen. Stand-in keeper Roddy McKenzie lost an early goal to Ian Jess. A powerful header from Scott Severin pulled the sides level. But goals from Adolf Stavrum and Kato Gunveit saw the point stay at Pittodrie. Jim Jeffries brought 2 more players to the club. Gilles Rousset stepped aside as the #1 keeper to allow Antti Niemi in. And Slovan Bratislava defender Robert Tomaszek was also added to their books. One man not so content was Paul Ritchie, who, after refusing to sign a new contract, was told he wouldn't play for the club again.
I was deeply disappointed at the way things worked out. Everybody knows that Hearts are my club. I've been there since I was 11-year-old. But the way things have ended up, I'm a bit bitter, to be fair.
Hearts returned from the winter shutdown rejuvenated. A 2-0 win over Dundee was followed by an impressive result at Celtic Park, coming back from 2-0 down.
Cameron, and he scored! Naismith, oh, what a great goal! Yes then, Hearts are in the lead.
After a goalless draw with Kilmarnock, Hearts went to Motherwell, where goals from Darren Jackson and Gary Wales gave Hearts the points they needed to climb into 5th place. This result coming in the midst of a 7-match unbeaten run that saw them climb to 3rd in the league. After their win at Celtic in February, Hearts were in the mood for the next meeting between the sides in April, and a single goal from Gary McSwagan proved their confidence right. After drawing 3 games against Kilmarnock, the 4th was destined to be close.
Gary Wales has a chance to open the scoring. And does.
That result left Hearts needing 3 points from their last 3 games to secure UEFA Cup football next season. Only Motherwell could still catch them. They couldn't take their first chance. A home game against St Johnstone resulted in a 0-0 draw, with McSwagan seeing red. Motherwell dropped points as well, meaning 1 point from their last 2 games would be enough to take Hearts into Europe, but they couldn't get it against Rangers.
Chelskis to Johansson, Billy Dodds! Suddenly Rangers are ahead.
Well, Hearts have played 35 games this season. They've won 14 of them, drawn 9, but disappointingly lost 12. They've notched up 51 points and they've scored 45 goals, but look at that, they've conceded 39. So Hearts need at least a point against Hibs today to get into the UEFA Cup next season. Can they get that point? Let's hear now from Jim Jeffries. He's with David Tanner.
Jim, I guess when you looked at your team sheet, you'd have probably been more confident than Alex McLeish in terms of selecting a side with all the absenteeism.
Well, Alex got a few players out, but so have we. But we feel we've got a strong squad, so we're confident that we'll have a strong team on the park, and hopefully they'll do the business today.
Is complacency perhaps Hearts' biggest enemy as opposed to Hibs?
Oh no, there's no complacency here. I mean, you know, there's been enough said in the press and from 2 or 3 different camps, you know, trying to play a few mind games. But as I say, we were focused. We warned the players that would happen at the start of the week. We put the emphasis on the training and keep the tempo up so that when we go into the game, we're ready for it. And I can detect for the attitude of the players this week that they're well up for it, and they've got a wee point to prove to 1 or 2 people. And what better way? We want to finish it. We said it. We maybe take the shine off it a wee bit, even if we won it through maybe Rangers or Motherwell dropping points. So we don't want to do that. We want to do it ourselves. We're due to beat Hibs for, you know, obvious reasons. They beat us the last couple of times, and but that'll be difficult. So if we go out there and work hard and get a result, it's in our own hands, and then we'll send everybody home happy.
Now, you've lost 6 goals in the last 2 derbies. What have you done today which will stop that from happening and get you the point you need?
Well, the last game, Alec will tell you, we spoke about after the game. I think at 1-0 Hearts were comfortable, and you know, McSwiggan was through and Wales were through, and had we scored then, I think there'd be no way back for Hibs. But the game changed when Latapi scored, and it gave them the lift before half time. The second half, we didn't respond as well as they did, and it was disappointing. But the game before that, I think we had a few new players in for their first game that day, and you know, they caught us cold with 2 early strikes. But as I say, they're in the past. What's happened in the past, and even last week, has no bearing on today's game. There's a lot to play for, and you know, Hibs will be keen to stop us. But we'll be going out there to get a bit of revenge, and at the end of the day, try and qualify for Europe.
I know you won't be looking too much to the Fir Park result, but do you honestly think that Motherwell can beat Rangers, a side which has lost 1 game all season?
Well, it doesn't matter to me what happens there. We want to win the game for ourselves, and if you know, if we win the game and then Motherwell win their game, good luck to them. It means that they have to hope that we get beat where it's in our own hands, and that's a great position to be in.
Jim, we're looking forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you.
We are looking forward to it. Charlie, it is a real derby. The word revenge. He wants revenge this afternoon. You can see why.
No, we'll bring in Rob on in a minute, but I always feel that Hearts, and he'll know better than me, but Jim Jeffries in particular, I think Hearts are at their best, Jim, when they have an aggressive approach. He talks about tempo there. When Hearts come out with this tempo, I tell you, on their day, they're good enough to take on anybody. And I think Jim Jeffries certainly sounds as if he's got the team motivated and they're ready for action. I don't know if Robbo would agree with that.
You're spot on there, Charlie. The big thing for Hearts this week in the papers up here, the players have said absolutely nothing. Jim Jeffries has done all the talking. The players have kept very, very quiet, and that's normally a sign the Hearts are going to come out all guns blazing. And it's said in the derby games, to win a derby match, you have to win the battle, and I think that's what Hearts are up for today.
Tell me, mainly in Hearts, I mean, I won't dismiss Hibs, we'll speak about them a little bit later, but Hearts in particular, there's been talk in the last 2 or 3 weeks, with the money that they've got, if they get 2 or 3 good players in, they can now start thinking about pressing Celtic in second position. Can they close the gap?
I think they can, Charlie. I've said in the newspaper recently that if Hearts can get 1 or 2 more quality players in, and we know Jim Jeffries got the money, he's a good manager, he'll take his time and get the right people in. I think they can push Celtic all the way next year, and with a second Champions League spot being up for grabs, I think Hearts are right in the thick of it, Charlie.
John, Jeffries said, we heard it there, he said Hearts are due to beat Hibs. It's going to take more than that though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we heard that, as we mentioned earlier on, Hearts had a 22-game unbeaten run against Hibs, and you're due nothing in a derby. You have to go out and work hard, you have to battle the opposition, win that battle, and then let your football play. And I just feel, having a look at the 2 teams, that Hearts have got that wee bit more steel about them, and we'll win this game today.
And we'll get the team confirmed shortly, John, but we hear that Juanjo is in from the start today for Hearts, and Andy Kirk's on the bench. Does that surprise you?
Juanjo being in from the start, yeah, you would think with it being a physical match that he wouldn't be the kind of player. He's a very tricky player, very skillful. In fairness to the young lad, he's been tremendous for the under-21 team in recent weeks, so he deserves his chance. And this young lad, Kirk, has got an awesome future in front of him. He's one of the most clinical finishers that I've seen in the game for a long, long time. He's a wee bit behind Gary Wales in terms of overall play, and he's certainly a long way behind Kenny Miller, who's the best young striker in Scottish football at the moment. But this kid can score goals.
You love the Edinburgh Derby fixture, don't you? You'd love to be out there again today, wouldn't you, John?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
It's his pace these days. Robbo, how do you think the game will be won and lost today? Because I think it'll be fairly open and fairly attack-minded. Where do you think it can be won?
Well, I think if you look at both teams' record, the goals against Charlie, they haven't been watertight at the back. But the good thing for Hearts in recent weeks is the form of their goalkeeper, Atidemi. He's been absolutely tremendous. He's had a tremendous run of games. He's looking the part now. He's settled in. He's confident. He'll be a big player for Hearts. But I think it's going to be the midfield. You know, Hearts will be in there. They look very strong, very aggressive in there. And with Jackson McSwiggan up front and Cameron supporting, I just feel that Hearts will have a wee bit more about them today.
That's a shock, eh?
John, again for the moment, thanks. Well, Hearts supporters always want to see their side beat the Hibs, and they want it badly today. A draw would be good enough to guarantee the Jambos UEFA Cup football next season, and that's what these supporters want. Now, in a couple of minutes, we'll go over to Fir Park to check out the scene there. But when we come back, we'll get the team news for this afternoon's Edinburgh derby.
That's it, yeah. Just move over slightly.
Lovely.
James, what are you looking at?
Sky's Summer of Football kicks off, with England taking on the masters of the beautiful game, Brazil, live from Wembley, followed by England against the Ukraine, and then their final game before Euro 2000 against Malta, plus the Under-21 European Championship. And Ireland travel to the USA to face Mexico, South Africa, and the USA in the Nike US Cup. This summer, don't get left behind. Enjoy some of the best sport from around the world on Sky Sport.
I'm not a dentist, but after eating, I chew Orbit, sugar-free gum.
It's a ball.
Sportal. Sport on the internet. Delivered by professionals.
The new Mazda Premacy from £14,405 on the road. All of our cars come with a 3-year warranty and an impeccable reputation for quality.
These guys have got it sussed. Get your Barbie for under 20 quid and have more to spend on the food. And at this price, you can afford this too.
Luxury for under £150. Just hope he likes it. Focus Do It All. Great choice, great value.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to Sports Breakfast with Alan Brazil on TalkSport. Now, last night's match, what about that goal?
Straight from the kick-off. Great control for a big fella. He's left defenders for dead. He doesn't need the Italian out wide. Goalkeeper comes. Can't get there. There's the finish. Oh, what a goal. Great celebrations. Oh, dear. Poetry in motion.
If you love sport, we're on your wavelength.
Come on, hypnotize me.
What the hell did she do to me?
She's here.
Don't be afraid of it, Daddy.
Stir of echoes.
Powering more websites than anyone else. Compact Reliance servers. With Intel Pentium 3 processors.
I'm not a dentist. However, after eating, I chew all the sugar-free gum.
Well, Masters football is back on Thursday night. 6 tournaments coming up for you over the summer, featuring some of the great football entertainers. Live from the Nottingham Arena, that's Thursday night from 7:30 on Sky Sports 1. It's Hearts against Hibs this afternoon. This will be the 76th Edinburgh derby since league reconstruction in Scotland in the mid-70s. Hearts have a far superior record with 29 wins to Hibs 16. Now at Tynecastle, Hearts have won 16 of the 37 played, with Hibs winning only 6. The latest of those was a 3-0 win in December. So Hearts fans know they hold the upper hand in this fixture, and they want to extend that advantage further this afternoon. Remember, a point guarantees them European football next season. So, Hearts against Hibs from Tynecastle. Who's in? Who's out? Let's get the team news now from David Tanner. David.
Thanks very much indeed, Jim. Welcome to Tynecastle, which is buzzing. I can tell you that Hearts are going for it big style today. They're playing 3 up front against a Hibernian team which is depleted and has lost, amongst others, star men Russell Latapi and Frank Sauzet. Gary McSwiggan returns after suspension for Hearts. He scored the only goal which helped Hearts win their only derby point of the season in August. He plays alongside ex-Hibs favourite Darren Jackson and Spaniard Juanjo. 4 changes from last week's 1-0 reversal at Ibrox. Kirk, Tomaszek and Murray dropped to the bench, and Gary Wales is, of course, recovering from a broken leg sustained against Rangers. The 3 strikers come in, along with Scott Severin, who plays in a midfield 3 beside skipper Colin Cameron and Lee Makel. It's the usual back 4 in front of Anthony Niemi, who's conceded 6 goals in his 2 capital clash appearances. Hibs have a major absenteeism problems. Starman Frank Sauzet is injured, and craftsman Russell Latapi is on World Cup duty with Trinidad and Tobago. Dirk Lehmann and Sean Dennis are banned. German centre-back Matthias Jack was given a fitness test this morning and failed it. Alex McLeish, therefore, has had to make 6 changes from last week. Hibs haven't won an away game in the league since their 3-0 win at Christmas time here. The only goal scorer from them playing today is Kenny Miller. He's netted 13 goals this term, on his way to receiving the Players' Young Player of the Year award. Alongside Miller up front is veteran striker Miksu Patalainen, who hasn't scored away from home in 7 months. The Finns scored in Hibs' home derby win in March. Skipper John Hughes is alongside longest-serving player Pat McGinley, played their last games for the club, and left-back Paul Lovering's recalled he's also expected to leave in the summer. Out with the old, in with the new, 2 teenagers play in midfield, Ian Murray, and getting his first start, Tom McManus. Jim, the referee today is our man at Euro 2000, Hugh Dallas. Well, the man who picked that Hibernian team is with me now, Alex McLeish, the Hibs manager. Alex, quite a lot of changes in that. Do you honestly feel as though that team is good enough to get a win?
Yeah, I believe so. Certainly, we've got forced changes, we've got suspensions, we've got key players out. It's not the best Hibs team in the world we've ever seen, but I think the one thing you'll see is a bit of fight from this team. We've got a couple of young lads in the team as well, so you know the expectations shouldn't be too high, but I believe we can get a result here today. You've got the 2 youngsters in midfield, and that I think is going to be a pretty tough area. What kind of afternoon have they got ahead of them? Well, Tom McManus is more of a centre forward, to be honest, but needs must today. And I'm playing him in a wide midfield area. Hopefully he can have a go at Gary Naismith. We've got Ian Murray on the left side, who's more of a defensive type, up and down. He's got a great engine, and he's a big lad who'll put his foot in. He's strong, and he's got a big heart. So they are young kids, but this experience will be wonderful for them. Hearts know what they've got to do. They know what they're aiming for. They're going for the UEFA Cup. What are the Hibs players going for in this one? Is it just local pride? Is it local politics? Well, that's exactly it. It's the derby, and you know, you get John Hughes in. He's a big Hibs man, and it's his last game, isn't it? Always leave it up to John for the Hibs games, and we've got a wee arrangement. I'm going to bring him back for all Hearts games next season. So you're confident then? Yeah, I'm always confident in my team before a game. You're never quite sure until they run out there. The last couple of weeks we laid down the preparations, the foundations for victory, and twice we've come away with egg in our face with bad performances. A wee bit tentative they were in the last 2 games, but I've said, you know, make the decision, go for the ball, make your mind up, and just make it happen rather than waiting for things to happen. And what price Kenny Miller to score again in front of our cameras? Well, he's done it a few times this season in the cameras, in front of the Sky cameras. Unfortunately not in the big one in the semi-final. But yeah, hopefully Kenny can do it again for you. Alex, we'll see you. Thanks a lot.
Alan McLeish. Charlie Nicholas, he says he's confident, but it is needs must for Hibs this afternoon, isn't it?
I think we can tell with the different tones in the managers already. You get into a derby game, Jim Jeffrey sounded confident, sounded upbeat. Alex is a bit more laid back and knows that he's got a few problems. I mean, he says young Tom McManus, normally a striker, has to throw him in the deep end today. No natural choices for him or natural calls. He's just got to ask his players to get on with it. And sometimes you get into a derby, and as important it is for Hearts to get something from the game today, then sometimes the team that starts with the most desire tends to go on and dominate the game.
John, what about the Hibs? How impressed have you been with Hibs this season?
I think they've done very well having come up for the first division, they really have consolidated, but they've let it slip. The last 6-8 weeks they've certainly let it slip, and you can trace it right back to the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. You know, at the time Hibs were flying, they were getting some good results against Celtic and Rangers at home, doing very well, and they really fancied their chances of doing well in the Scottish Cup this year. And since they lost to Aberdeen, it's went really flat, and it's been compounded as things do. You don't get results, you pick up a few injuries. They've lost Sozzi, Latapi's away home on international duty, and it doesn't look the strongest Hibs side today.
As you rightly mentioned, John, they've done well against the Old Firm this season. Back in February, they drew 2-2 with Rangers. That was a good performance and a solid performance from Hibs, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally Hibs are very, very difficult to beat at Easter Road. They make it hard for everybody. And the young lad, Kenny Miller, was on fire at the time, scoring a lot of goals, creating a lot of problems for the teams. But Hibs, away from home, weren't picking up the results. And eventually that's caught up with them. The semi-final was a huge disappointment to their fans and the players alike. And they've never really recovered from that defeat.
Yeah, that's right. I would agree with that. I mean, I thought they've had problems defensively, Rob. I don't know if you'd agree, but I think their main problem has been defending consistently. But I think in attack, young Miller, Lataby's been great to watch, very exciting. But I think if they can tighten up at the back, they would be a much improved side.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Charlie, because Alan McLeish's tried. He's brought McIntosh up from Stockport County to try and plug the gaps. He's been playing Tom Smith all year, a right-sided player at left back, Derek Collins at right back, and they've never really had a settled defence. Paul Lovering's been in, he's back in today. He's been in and out of the team, and there's no doubt that consistency at the back of losing goals has certainly cost Hibs this season.
It's been a pretty decent return, though, to the Premier League, hasn't it? Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think it has. I mean, Hibs are one of the teams that when they came back up, having won the First Division title so impressively, nobody really thought they'd be down the bottom end scrapping relegation, Charlie, because they are a good side. But Hibs will be disappointed. It was full of promise for them. They'd had 2 tremendous derby victories. They were having a great run in the Cup. Everything seemed to be falling into place. And as I say, the loss of the likes of Sozzi here is very influential on them. And the defeat in the semi-final has really brought Hibs' season to a stuttering halt.
Robbo, you mentioned the young lad at Hearts, Andy Kirk. How good is Kenny Miller? How good can he be?
Kenny Miller is way, in my mind, Charlie, it's full of, there's Mark Burchill passing the ball. I think Kenny Miller's ahead of Burchill.
Yeah.
He's very, very quick. He's a very good striker, scores a lot of good goals. He's got a good touch and links up play well.
Should he be in the Scotland squad then?
Yes, absolutely no doubt about it. He's scored 15, 16 goals this season. He's put in a lot of good performances. I know Alec McLeish is just trying to nurse him along, but he's up there. The lad Kirk is clinical. That's the reason he's not played in the first team really, Charlie, is that his all-round game. He's holding the ball up and his runs are not quite ready yet, but he's not far away. And anybody that scores the amount of goals this lad scores is definitely worth a gamble.
John, thanks again. We'll speak more about individual players of Hearts and Hibs later. But as we've said, if Hearts lose and Motherwell win, then they get the UEFA Cup spot. Let's find out what the mood is like at Fir Park. Our man there is Brian Etherson.
Well, thank you, Jim. Motherwell's hopes for European football next season are quite literally hanging by a thread. Not only are they dependent upon Hibernian beating Hearts at Tynecastle, they have also got to beat the Premier League champions. And joining me now is Motherwell manager Billy Davis. Billy, how can you possibly beat a side who have not lost an away game all season?
Well, it's going to be very difficult for us, but you know, we've nothing to lose. We've got to go out and believe that we can do something and hopefully get the 3 points.
Have you at all prepared any differently for this game because there is so much at stake in previous other games against Rangers?
No, I don't think you can. It's the last game of the season, but we've now got an opportunity to go and put in a good show in front of our supporters, and we'll certainly be trying to do that.
Knowing nothing less than a win will do, are you going to change your tactics at all?
Yeah, well, we're going to bring in 1 or 2 new faces to the squad, and we'll certainly be having a go today.
How much can home advantage count for you in a situation like this?
Very important for us. We go and we put some pressure on Rangers and try and reduce the time and space that they have in the ball. In the same time too, hopefully try and create 1 or 2 chances.
Will it be as difficult for yourself because Rangers are playing for places in the Cup final next week?
I don't think it matters. You know, every game Rangers play, the ethics and the standards are always the same. They're a top side full of top quality players, and they've got a management team who demand success. So we know it's going to be very tough and it'll be a very difficult match for us.
You will get chances this afternoon, albeit half chances. So have you emphasised to the players in the starting lineup this afternoon that they've got to take them?
Yeah, they know that we've got to take the chances that we try and get when you play against Rangers, and it's very important we do that. But at the same time too, we've got to defend very well. They have a number of players who can create a lot of chances, and you know, we never know.
Will you be tuning into events that are going on in Edinburgh?
Well, we've got to tune into our own game first and foremost, because we have a very difficult job to go and try and beat Rangers. And then at the end of the match, hopefully we can pick up 3 points, and then we can start to look at Tynecastle.
What's your team used for this game?
Well, we've got Simo Valakari back into the team today. Simo's last game for the club, and I think he'll come in and certainly look forward to the occasion.
Well, Jim, that's the team news this afternoon here at Fir Park. Billy Davies, very confident indeed. Back to you.
Thanks, Brian. Charlie, how much of a feat and achievement has it been for Motherwell to take this European issue to the last day?
Well, I think they did incredibly well. As you know, early part of the season, it was my dark horse for third place. And I really was confident come February and March time, Jim. I have to say, I thought, here we go, John Boyle's got them going. I don't know how his budget is getting on, because I think, you know, they've been paying a decent salary to a few players. And I don't think I think they've been an impressive season under Billy Davies. But I have to say, in the last 3 months or so, it's been disappointing to see them slip. Dundee United started the season in pole position in third. And then Motherwell had their opportunity, and now Hearts are finally looking like they're going to seal it. But overall, I think it's been a decent side, a decent performance all round from Motherwell. But I think it can get better, but it depends, again, how financially stable they're going to be.
Exactly. I mean, pressure on John Boyle, Charlie, surely to replace people like Valicari, who's off to Derby County, with the right sort of player.
Yeah, but sometimes it's an unfair pressure on John Boyle, because he's made cheap prices and entrance fees for the fans, for the season ticket holders again next season. He's tried everything to stimulate this club, and I don't think he's had the decent backing to start with, and then it went into a little rut. So, you know, I think John's tried everything, and I think sometimes he gets a little fed up that not enough come and support him. So I'm hoping that he would get behind Motherwell a bit more. But, yeah, I think he realises that to improve again, you've got to be able to splash a bit of cash.
If Motherwell get their noses ahead this afternoon, Charlie, this is going to get mightily interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because jangling, you're going to have the tension. I think Hearts sound as if they're up for it. But if Motherwell can get this first goal against Rangers, you just never know how the pressure pot can turn in football.
Well, as Charlie says, Motherwell will undoubtedly give it a go, but they face a Rangers side who have done anything but relax since they clinched the title. And Dick Advocaat has promised Rangers will be giving their all again today.
Well, we have to be fair to Hearts, to my opinion, because we did it against Hearts as well, and we must do it against Motherwell as well. So we go with the full strength in the game, the full team, and the best players will play, because they have to show me as well if they are fit enough to play against Aberdeen.
Barry Ferguson, Player of the Year, of course. He'll be going for it today because Advocaat's men want to impress the boss with the cup final against Aberdeen looming. Rangers will be going for it today. Rosenthal, Alberts and Perini amongst them. They all want to play. They all want to beat Motherwell at Fir Park this afternoon. But of course, we're going to be concentrating on the Edinburgh Derby. It's Hearts against Hibs coming soon. And when we come back, we'll take a check on the key players on show at Tynecastle this afternoon. There's a lot more live international football coming up for you this summer, including the Under-21 European Championship, exclusively live from Slovakia. That kicks off next Saturday night from 7 o'clock on Sky Sports 1 as England take on Italy. In a week or so, the Republic of Ireland are in action against Scotland and then travel to America for the Nike US Cup. And there are 3 England internationals coming up for you, starting next Saturday at 2 o'clock on Sky Sports 2 as England take on mighty Brazil. Sky Digital viewers can also catch interactive coverage of that match on Sky Sports Extra. It's a great lineup of international football and it's live, of course, only on Sky Sports. Well, it's the Edinburgh Derby this afternoon. It's Hearts against Hibs. Hearts are 5-4 on to win today. They're the favourites. Hibs are 11-4 and it's 9-4 the draw. Who do the bookies feel will score first today? Well, Gary McSwagan is 5-1, he's favourite. Colin Cameron and Darren Jackson of Hearts are 7-1. Kenny Miller of Hibs is 7-1. And Wanjo, the Spaniard who starts this game surprisingly today, Wanjo of Hearts is 8-1 to open the scoring. Well, Hearts may be third in the table, but Hibernian have been the dominant force in Edinburgh derbies this season.
Russell Latapi with the chance to give Hibs the lead. He does. Kevin James won the header. McSwagan's flick. And Gary McSwagan equalises for Hearts.
Latapi. Lehman. Lovely turn from Dirk Lehman. Super strike from Lehman. Only gone as far as Soze, who can hit them! And it's 2-0 to Hibs! Miller shrugging off Severin, and it's Miller to wrap it up for Hibs!
In March, Hearts were looking for revenge at Easter Road and got off to the perfect start when Darren Jackson put them ahead. That lead didn't last long though, as Russell Latipi pulled Hibs level. Hibs took the lead through a brave header from French midfielder Frank Sauzet. Then Mixu Patalainen secured the points as he scrambled the ball over the line to make it 3-1. In the passing, let me give you a bit of news from Celtic Park. Celtic play Dundee United this afternoon, and Henrik Larsson, who's been out for so long with that double leg fracture, he's on the bench today, so he might just get the 20 minutes of football he's been wanting. Well, Hearts have had an excellent second half of the season. A significant factor in that has been the form of goalkeeper Antti Niemi, signed from Rangers at the tail end of last year.
He conceded 3 goals in his debut in December's derby, but since then, keeper Antti Niemi's helped put Hearts on course for Europe. The Finnish internationalist met Hibs opposite number Nick Colgan for a derby on the golf course this week, but Niemi doesn't need an escape from football at this time.
Oh, I've been enjoying it very much. The reason why I came here was that I wanted to play first team football, and I've done that now, so it's been a very good move for me.
Has it been good for you and your confidence in your game being officially #1 at the club?
Yeah, of course, it makes it easier because on my time at Rangers, I was always, playing if someone else was injured and so on. So you always have to, you're always thinking that I have to do well if I want to keep my place. And I still think I have to do well if I want to keep my place. But at the moment, it looks like the #1, and it makes it easier. And just have to keep doing well and hope to keep my jersey.
I watched you pull off some remarkable saves at Ibrox Stadium last week. Are you on top of your game at the moment? Is this the best period of form you've had in your career, would you say?
Well, definitely the best period since I came to Scotland, because I'm playing actually again. So that makes it a bit more easier. But yeah, I would say it's been a good few months for me. But, football is full of ups and downs. So I just keep my feet on the ground and work hard and hopefully continue that next season.
Do you enjoy playing in front of the big crowds every week? Because I can imagine playing for the reserves or the under-21s in front of sparse crowds, it must affect your mind and your mentality at some stage.
Yeah, of course. I think every football player, enjoys playing in front of big crowds, and we have a Tynecastle, we have a nice stadium and good support, so that's very important, yes.
You get a big crowd this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's sell out, yeah.
For the visit of Hibs, how are you feeling about that game? Because it's massive for both clubs in different ways.
I think it's, like you say, it's a massive game for both teams because, obviously we are fighting to get that at least 1 point and to get to Europe. But the fact that we have lost to Hibs in the last 2 occasions makes it even more special. We want to beat them. And I'm sure that when the referee blows the whistle on Sunday, we're going to give everything we have.
You made your debut in Hibs' 3-0 win at Tynecastle at Christmas time. Did you think, what have I done? What have I done coming here?
No. I'm already almost 28 years old. I've seen a few games, and just football, anything can happen. And like I said, derby games are always special. Anything can happen.
How does the Edinburgh derby compare to the Old Firm derby?
Actually, I don't think there's a lot difference. Might sound funny, but obviously in Scotland, Celtic and Rangers are the 2 biggest clubs, and the stadiums are massive. There's 50,000-60,000 people watching those games, and but I don't think you can go to Hearts or Hibs fans and tell them that they are not as passionate about their football and about their clubs as Celtic and Rangers fans are. So they're both very big fixtures.
I think it would probably be vital for Hearts after that good period of play and after the investment to get to Europe. Is that in the players' mind?
When the club is ambitious, you have to have goals to go for, and I think that definitely deserve to be third in the league this year.
How well do you think this current team, this current crop of players and the way that you play, how well do you think you would cope in the UEFA Cup next season if you get there?
We have some experienced players, but there's so many good teams in the UEFA Cup. If you see the teams, that it's really, really difficult to get results in Europe today. But I think we would have a decent chance to go a little bit further than last time.
Back to the golf, and Niemi managed to overcome Colgan at Dalmahoy, but the Hibs keeper doesn't consider that to be an omen for the football at Tynecastle.
We know it's going to be a tough game. Anti's been on great form recently. We just had to have a good day today, and you know, a little bit of friendly rivalry, but you know, come the weekend, hopefully it'll be a good result for Hibs.
The two goalkeepers there, but Antti Niemi, who certainly has turned his career around at Hearts. John Robertson at Tynecastle, how good is Niemi? Do you rate him?
Yeah, he's been superb. I mean, even with Rangers, you know, it was a quality goalkeeper for Rangers. The Cats brought on other goalkeepers to replace him. It was a tremendous stroke of business for Jim Jeffries to get him for around £400,000. He had a tough job replacing Gilles Rousset, who's a firm favourite here, but he's done that magnificently.
And I think, Charlie, he had to show a bit of bottle to get his career back on track, didn't he?
Well, I think he did, Jim, but I have to say, you know, I think throughout this season he's proved a lot. I've said all along, I don't think he ever did anything wrong at Rangers. He wasn't disappointed. But I think what he's done now is that he knows he's number one at Hearts, and I think that's gave him the little urge that he can believe a bit more in himself. I don't know if Robert would agree with this, but I think Hearts had to start changing. I know he played with Rousset, but I think they had to make a change, and Niami, he's been a sensational buy.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Charlie. I mean, Rousset's been a tremendous servant to the club.
Yeah.
But I think Jim Jeffries felt that he was beginning to leak 1 or 2 goals. He's kept Rousset on though, because he wants this man Niemi pushed all the way. And Rousset's certainly capable of doing that. But there's no doubt in my mind, in the Heartspor's mind, that Antti Niemi is now number one.
And Robbo, Darren Jackson's in from the start this afternoon. Now, of course, as we know, this man's been around for a while and he's played for Hibs and he's now at Hearts. How important is he this afternoon to Hearts and Hearts' cause with the UEFA Cup spot in mind?
Well, Darren's been very influential since the turn of the year as Hearts have hit form. He's had to take on the matter. Cameron's been injured, 1 or 2 strikers have been injured, and Darren's came in and he's a great finisher. I mean, he scored some tremendous goals here, right foot, left foot, and he's one of these players that'll be interesting today to see where he actually starts, because he may start up front, but as Charlie knows, Darren likes to drift. Here he's here, and this is exactly what Hearts are looking for this afternoon. He'll drift into areas where Hibs won't be able to pick him up. He'll not play as an out-and-out striker, and with finishing like that, he's going to be one major threat to Birmingham Football Club.
I think you're spot on there, wee man, but see when they say they're going with the 3, they've got Wanjo up there, as you mentioned. You know, I think he does like to come short. We both identify that. What do you think's his best position?
I think Darren Jackson's best position is actually just off a front 2, Charlie,
yeah,
where he can go and get balls in the midfield, he can play a little passing, a very intelligent player, and he's also good at making the runs into the box. The problem Hearts have is that Colin Cameron plays exactly the same way as well. He likes to get in the box, so I think today you'll find McSwiggan will be the main striker, Jackson will float, Cameron will support, and Wanjo will play just that little bit wider on the right.
Robert, let's concentrate for a moment on Hibs, and of course Hibs are determined to scupper Hearts this afternoon, and this fellow would enjoy that big time. Grant Brebner. He started his career, of course, at Manchester United, but he's now at the club at Hibs that he supported as a boy. Again, John, a player that you fancy, a player with a future in the game?
Yeah, no doubt about that. Grant is a very good player. He's a quality passer, very passionate about his club as well. These are the kind of passes he can thread through. Hibs, you know, he worked very well earlier on this season with Russell Latapi. He's a player who will sit and play passes. He'll not get forward too often, but he's a rock there for Hibs and plays very, very well for them. As you said, very passionate with his club. Fell out the game, to be fair. He was left out by Alex McLeish for 2 or 3 weeks because he felt he wasn't performing up to his usual high standard. But he's only a young lad, and I'm sure he's got a big future in front of him.
I certainly think he's learned a lot under Sosi. I think, if anything, he's got the slight problem he does have. He's maybe just a bit one pace in that midfield. But getting forward, he's very positive.
Charlie, it's a very emotional day for this man, John Hughes. Now, he's been freed by Hibs, and he loves playing for Hibs, so he'll lead the team out for the last time today against Hearts.
Yeah, but managers have got difficult decisions when it comes to personalities like Yogi. There's no doubt he's a big, solid guy. He gives you everything he's got. You know, there's no glamour about him. He can just go and get his job done, but, you know, there's great determination. I still think he's in sensational shape for his age. I think he's 35 now, John. He still has that tigerish and the bite and the tackle. But I think he's in great shape, and I think he still will produce another couple of seasons.
And Rubbo, following Yogi Hughes out the door at Easter Road, is Pat McGinley. He's on his bike as well. So again, they want to go out in the high this afternoon, and a win for Hibs against Hearts would be that high, wouldn't it?
Oh, there's no doubt about that, Jim. If these two players could have picked a game to finish their career off, it would be this one. There's something at stake. Pat McGinley has scored goals throughout his career. His first spell at Hibs, done very well at Celtic, didn't do too much wrong at Celtic. Hibs brought him back, and he's continued to score goals. But Alec McLeish has decided to rebuild. Unfortunately, Hughes and McGinley have been left out, and trust me, there'll be nobody out in that park trying any harder than John Hughes this afternoon.
John, as we finish off there with Pat McGinley, let me put you on the spot. Who's going to win this game this afternoon?
I'm going to go, stick my head out and go for a home win for the Hearts.
Charlie?
I think it'll be a score draw today, but I think if anybody was to win it, I think it would be Hearts. But a score draw for me.
Well, it's the Edinburgh Derby, another capital clash. Can Hibs deprive Hearts of the point they so badly want to get into Europe next season? Or will the Jambos do the business themselves in style? Hearts-Hibs is next.
Jim, if there's one team in the world that would love to wreck Hearts' European plans, it's the team they face today. An exhilarating Edinburgh Derby ensures a frantic finale to the Scottish Premier League season. Top scorer Gary McSwiggan is back from a ban for Hearts. He's one of 4 changes from the side beaten at Rangers last week. Darren Jackson and Scott Severin also returned to the starting lineup. And there's a rare outing for Spaniard Juanjo. Out go Murray, Tomaszek and Kirk, who dropped to the bench, while Gary Wales broke his leg last week.
Yeah, he's got quite a few missing because of injury today, Ian, but it's still a very strong Hearts side. And I think that's a measure of the progress that Jim Jeffries is making here in terms of putting a squad together. Scott Severin comes in on the right side of midfield, and I think that's significant. This is going to be a real physical battle here today, and that'll be right up his street. Not scared to put his foot in where it hurts. Beside him, Colin Cameron, who's played right side of midfield for most of the season, playing in the central role, and I think that's going to allow him to get forward and link up with more ease. Juanjo playing wide right, but again it does give Jim options, because if he's not getting enough of the ball to his feet, he can always shift in here, play beside Gary McSwiggan, and that would allow Darren Jackson to drop off the front.
Well, it's a rather depleted Hibs side with their 2 most influential players amongst many missing. Frank Sosie injured, Russell Latapy on international duty. 19-year-old Tom McManus makes his full debut. Ian Murray is the same age. Their careers just starting, but it's the end of the Hibs road for Pat McGinley and John Hughes, their last game for the club.
Yeah, Hibs badly hit by injury, and not just injuries to normal players, but injuries to key players like Latapy and Sosie. They're normally a side who would want to pass the ball through the midfield area. Today, I think they're going to have to get the ball forward quicker, and I think we'll see quite a few diagonals, long diagonals, played in from the right side for Patalainen. And if he does win his fair share of them, and normally he would, that will release Pat McGinley forward from the midfield area to get forward and link up. Beside Patalainen, Kenny Miller, well, maybe not considered good enough to make Craig Brown's squad, but more than a danger to this Hearts back four this afternoon.
Well, the football folk of Edinburgh have had this capital contest on their minds for a while, or should that be capital conquest, because these are the ones you have to win. If you don't, much as you try to forget, there will always be somebody around to remind you. It's a day to show your colours if you're a fan. It's a day to show your true colours if you're a player. These are the sort of games that can make or break you. It's time for Hearts and Hibs to show us what they can do, to show us what they are made of. Well, 2 Hibs heroes bow out today. Pat McGinley's 11-year association with the club comes to an end. Time for him and Hibs to move on, it seems, because also being released, John Hughes, and Easter Road will certainly be a lot quieter without him. The popular Yogi, as he's known, and McGinley will be rather keen to go out in style. Stephen Presley is unique. Not only is he Hearts' solitary ever-present this season, he's also the only ever-present in the whole of the Scottish Premier League. And to add to that achievement, he reaches a milestone today. It's his 200th league appearance in this country. Jim Jeffries' Jambos hoping to secure a place in the UEFA Cup. Euro 2000 ref Hugh Dallas is in charge of the 218th League derby in Edinburgh. We won't find out until June the 8th which games he'll have in Holland and Belgium. He's got this one today. Hearts need just a point to secure that UEFA Cup spot, but they won't be playing for a point, of course. A, it's too risky. B, that's not Jim Jeffries' way. And C, there are scores to settle. In the previous Edinburgh encounters this season, there's been one draw and 2 Hibs wins. Can Hibs, who will kick us off, go through a season without losing to their city rivals for the first time in 23 years? Stand by for an enthralling afternoon's entertainment.
Yeah, terrific atmosphere in the ground this afternoon, Ian. I think it's fair to say it's a bigger game for Hearts than it is for Hibs. I know it's an Edinburgh derby, but all Hearts' hard work in the previous part of the season on the line here. They can almost reach out and touch this European place. It means so much to Jim Jeffries. But it's going to be a hard shift for him this afternoon.
Brebner's header. Patalainen knocks it on. And it's the usual bright and busy start as Hearts and Hibs collide. And that's the first challenge from Pat McGinley on Colin Cameron. There'll be a few more of those to come.
I think he's going to be fortunate here. I think Hugh Dallas is going to let him off with this. Pat McGinley well late. He knows it's his last Edinburgh derby. And I have to say I'm surprised that Hugh Dallas hasn't stamped on that immediately and produced a yellow. Pat McGinley fortunate.
Gary Naismith with the free kick. It was attacked by Martin McIntosh. Juanjo seeking out Cameron, but it was cut out by Murray. There's nowhere to hide for these players today. You simply have to give your all. God help you if this one passes you by. Here's Juanjo. Lee Makel. Thomas Flugel playing it right back for Hearts, as he has done before this season. And they're getting a series of throw-ins at the moment. Flugel, Austrian international. Jackson leaves it for Makel. Awesome atmosphere at Tynecastle, which is always buzzing and bouncing when these two meet. Juanjo, Lovering is with him, and Murray comes in for a bit too, and it's another Hearts throw, and a long line of them. Presley's header. Just eluded Severin. 100 miles per hour stuff, as you'd expect. This is McManus. On his full debut, impressed as a sub last week at Dundee. Derek Collins back from injury. And Naismith's challenge. Collins' throw. Brebner's cross. Away by Presley, but only to McGinley. Cleared by Flugel, but it comes straight back. Patalainen and Presley rise, and the Hearts man won it.
Yeah, Presley did well there, and he's going to have to win his fair share of them, because Hibs will play a lot of balls back to front for the target of Patalainen.
Miller. Brebner is near post, Patalainen in there as well, but once again it's Presley who's on the end of it. I think Pat McGinley is, one way or another, going to have a bit of fun this afternoon.
Yeah, he's going to have to calm down a bit, Pat McGinley. Again, leading there with the left arm, claiming all over Colin Cameron. And it looks at the moment as if Pat McGinley will be given the job of shadowing Colin Cameron this afternoon. I originally thought that Grant Brebner might be given that job to sit and hold just in front of the back four, but at the moment it's Pat McGinley who's being asked to close him down.
Naismith's free kick. Skimmed off the head of Severin. Makel. Now Cameron. Oh, not a good first touch from Naismith. Unusually. Katalainen. Neat turn. Seeking out Ian Murray, but it landed on the boot of Flugel. McIntosh read that, now Brebner. McGinley really up for it in his final game for Hibs. Katalainen flicked it on, and Kenny Miller. Wonderful work from Presley.
Typical though of the front two from Hibs there, Ian. Just the deftest of flick-ons there by Patalainen, and Miller was on his way immediately. That's a danger for us.
Alan Jackson, once of Hibs, of course. Scored a stunner against them earlier in the season. Makel's cross. And McGinley just managed to nick that one away. It's a Sunday shutdown for the SPL, but there'll be no quiet winding down, not with a ferocious Edinburgh derby on our hands, and not with a European place still to be claimed. Patalainen, Miller, one of the stars of the Scottish season. Brebner, spun away from Cameron, and finds McManus. That's a cracking cross, which Presley had to take away from the incoming Patalainen.
That's a tremendous delivery from Tom McManus. And once again, it's Stephen Presley who attacks it. And it's time to float it in between the goalkeeper and the last defender, and Presley does well again.
He's seen plenty of the ball early on, Presley. Antiniemi and his defence now have to cope with a corner. First of the game. It will be taken by the former Manchester United youngster, Grant Brebner. Confident catch, though, from Niemi, who made his debut against Hibs here in December and was beaten 3 times from outside of the box, but it's a little unfair to him because he's generally been outstanding.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the distance he came for that, Ian, fully committed. If a goalkeeper's prepared to come that distance, it takes a lot of pressure off those in front of him.
Thomas Flugel has just agreed a new deal to stay at Hearts. Presley. McSquiggan knocked it on. Away by Lovering, though. Severin rising, but Brebner has put Miller in here. And Hearts are in trouble now. Patalainen is with him, but it's taken by Niemi at the near post.
I think it had to come in earlier. Miller does well in the first place, finding a bit of space there. Thomas Flugel caught out of position, but I think he has to deliver it earlier. He ends up being squeezed out there by Stephen Presley.
The football is flowing, although it's typically frantic. Petric won it in the air. Wanjo. First league start of the season for the Spaniard, who was given a chance in Barcelona's first team by Bobby Robson. Stephen Presley. Flugel aware of the presence of Miller. Flugel, it's met by Hughes, but it's not being cleared effectively, and Wanjo finds Cameron. Colin Cameron! Plenty of power, but it's not quite matched by the position.
Yeah, but it wasn't picked up. Ali McLeish will be concerned at the space that Colin Cameron gets here. Eventually it's Derek Collins who has to go and try and close him down. And it's typical of Cameron to find that kind of space in the last third. just checking onto his right side here, couldn't keep the shot down, but certainly encouraging for Jim Jeffries that he managed to find that kind of room.
And Jeffries would dearly love to take Hearts back into Europe. They were there, of course, as recently as last season when they were knocked out of the Cup Winners' Cup by the eventual finalist, Mallorca, but they gave them a fight or two.
Yeah, I spoke to him earlier this week, and he said it's crucial, he thinks, that Hearts do it under their own steam this afternoon. Certainly wants Rangers to do them a turn at Fir Park, but he wants Hearts to do it on their own here this afternoon, on their own patch, in front of their own supporters. That'll be a very special moment should they manage that.
Cameron helped it on, away by Hughes. Jackson. Free kick. And he was right on the spot then, was Mr. Dallas.
Yeah, there's going to be a real physical battle in that central midfield area. Pat McGinley again in the thick of it, as was Darren Jackson. Lee Makel eventually penalised, but it's going to be a crucial area, that central midfield area.
Yes, there could be a few bruises picked up in there today. Oh, it just bobbled off Miller's boot. Camera, such an inspiration to Hearts. Makel. And look at the space. Swigan now Naismith. Some run from Gary Naismith, but no break.
Typical of Gary Naismith, always willing to get forward, not picked up there. But I think you can see the weakness in his game here. It's on his right side.
Forced his way into the senior Scotland squad lately. There's Naismith, here's Patalainen, the Finnish international. McGinley and Jackson close by. Presley. Flugel. Makel. Cameron. Stringing the passes together, but that little sequence is stopped by Lovering.
Yeah, they haven't really managed to get the ball into Wanzo's feet, Ian, and if they're not going to get it into his feet, he's going to be a luxury out there. Yeah, first yellow card, I think, for Grant Dredner. Dallas deciding he's had enough and it's time to clamp down. Fully justified, I think, as well for that challenge.
Well, it was inevitable that sooner or later a card would come out. Dredner, the recipient. First of the game, probably not the last, but it's going to be a goal kick with a disappointing attempted across from Wanjo. Earlier in the season, Hibs won 3-0 here. Alex McLeish had a much stronger side then, though. And in fact, that was their last away win in the Scottish Premier League. He, though, is unbeaten in Edinburgh derbies. It's not been a bad season for Hibs on their return to the top flight. Although they'll be kicking themselves, really, for not making the Scottish Cup final, losing to Aberdeen, of course, in the semis.
Martin McIntosh penalised here. Just a little nudge there on Gary McSwegan as McSwegan was watching the ball falling towards him. Chance for Petric to go forward now.
Lee Makel takes the free kick. Colgan coming and always looking likely to get there without too much discomfort. His kick out comes to nothing, though. Young McManus unable to do much with it. There's the apology.
Yeah, but young McManus is pushing right on the right side, and the problem Hearts will have now is getting Naismith forward.
Here is McManus. Petric. It was helped on by Severin, but sent straight back by Hughes. Here's Flugel, though. Wanjo nicked it on, but McIntosh steamed in. Actually stayed in. For a few seconds, anyway. Quanjo. Oh, he was sandwiched, and nastily so. Another card coming out.
Yeah, it's another yellow, and you can see that Hibs have no intention of letting Quanjo get on the ball, get turned and running at defenders. Goes down immediately there, and illegally says Hugh Dallas. I don't think too many would disagree with him.
Martin McIntosh joins Grant Brebner in the book. So those two guys have to tread carefully already, and it's not easy to tread carefully in an Edinburgh derby. Makel's free kick. And Makel can try again. Flugel. On by Severin. And now Severin has put Naismith in. His cross towards Quanjo. Was that a handball by McSwiggan? It was. Referee's blown.
Yeah, decent move though by Hearts. Good back post ball there by Gary Naismith. And he has time to look up here. Unfortunately, it's the smallest Hearts player, Quanjo, who's trying to get at the end of it. Did well with the knockdown. I don't think there's any doubt that Gary McSwiggan uses the right arm here and trying to control it, or the left arm, I should say.
Quanjo. Presley. John Hughes will let that one run through to Nick Colgan. Goal news from elsewhere in the Scottish Premier League. Kilmarnock have taken the lead against St Johnstone at Rugby Park, and it's Ian Durrant who's got the goal for them. Hearts, of course, in need of a point to make sure of a European place. They might not need that, though. They won't need it if Motherwell fail to beat Rangers. Jim Jeffries, the longest-serving manager in the Scottish Premier League. Hearts under-18 team won the Youth Cup yesterday, beating Rangers 5-3, and their under-21 side won their championship as well. So it's been a pretty good season all round at Tynecastle. McManus with a burst of pace to get there, but Naismith won the race. McManus. Collins on his left foot, still managed to deliver, and deliver decently. Hibs actually unbeaten in their last 5 meetings with Hearts, but of course there weren't any meetings last season. Hibs were in the First Division. Bearing that in mind, Hearts haven't beaten their Edinburgh rivals for 2.5 years. McGinley launching that one into touch. Flogel's throw. Makel. Firm header from Hughes. Presley steering it back to Niemi. Aimed towards McSwiggan. Collins miskicked that, and it sprung away from McManus. Gary Naismith has only missed 1 league game this season. That was on the opening day. Here we are on the final day. Miller. Murray. Not quite what was intended. Half rescued by Lovering, but possession back with Hearts. Hearts have actually won more games away than at home this season. How strange, Jim's got a few words to say.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously upset about something. I think they're just playing it from back to front too often at the moment, Ian. They have the players to pass it through the midfield. but it's been Route 1 stuff for most of this game so far from Hearts. And they don't really have a natural target up there either.
Stuart Dougal is the fourth official today, and he was saying before the match that he kind of figured he was in for a busy afternoon. There he is. Hearts have actually only beaten 4 of the other 9 SPL clubs here at Tynecastle this season. Aberdeen twice, Dundee twice, Dundee United once and Celtic once. Flag is up.
You see again though, Miller was on his way. The knock-on from Patalainen, and it's such a good partnership. There's clearly a lot of work going into this partnership in the training ground, but every time Patalainen's up there in the air, this young man is looking to react.
So Petric has moved forward. His central defensive partner, Presley, will take the free kick. Can he seek him out? That's certainly the plan. And Petric knocks it across. And what a save from Corgan to deny Wanjo.
That's a wonderful save by Nick Colgan. It's the first ball in the air that John Hughes has lost here. Gordon Petric gets across the front of him, behind him actually. Terrific chance there for Wanjo, and that's a fine reaction save there from Nick Colgan.
Corgan has established himself as first choice at Hibs, replacing Ollie Cox-Colson, who's leaving the club, in fact, going to Brentford. And that was a stunning save. But he might be put under pressure again. Naismith. Makel. Cameron. Jackson. Jackson shrugging off McIntosh, much to the delight of the Hearts fans, much to the dismay of the Hibs fans who used to adore him, but don't think they're too keen on him now. Makel. Vogel. Up towards Jackson. And moved by Corgan. And here's Petric. Tiniemi, the Finnish international keeper, hoping to keep on one of his fellow countrymen, of course, today, Patalainen. Makel, and he slipped it through to Wanjo, and cut out by McIntosh.
It's a terrific pass by Lee Makel. Paul Lovering just falls asleep here for a moment, and Wanjo was on his way. It's a decent ball in, but Hibs have enough bodies there at the front post.
Wanjo almost grabbed the game's opening goal and probably thought he had, but for Colgan's intervention a moment ago. The Spaniard takes the corner, and it drops for McSwiggan. Come down quickly enough, but it'll be another corner. A round of applause for Darren Jackson, who's finally won over the Hearts fans. And that would have taken a bit of work, considering he used to play for Hibs. Jackson sends it in. Away by Hughes. Cameron. Jackson. Oh. It's only cleared as far as Makel. Flugel. This is McSwiggan. Flugel. Wanjo's header onto the roof of the net.
Yeah, it's not a bad effort. Hearts playing away patiently on the right side until they finally find the space for the delivery in. And it must be 13, 14 yards out there. It's going to take something pretty special to beat Colgan from that range, and I don't think he was really troubled. But Hearts starting to pick holes in that Hibs back line.
Presley conceding a free kick for hammering over Mixu Patalainen.
There you go, Hearts having the better of the possession, but Hibs always dangerous for me on the break.
penalty. McIntosh decided that he wasn't going to hang around.
He's capable from that range, Ian. I remember a memorable goal he scored at Pataudry a few seasons ago from 35, 40 yards.
Your kind of distance too, eh?
Got it, huh?
Well, Hugh Dallas was right on the scene then. Didn't give a handball against Spretner. Ranger, McSwiggan, couldn't return it. It was actually Kenny Miller coming back to sort things out for Hibs then. Since their memorable 3-0 victory here in December, Hibs have taken a miserable 2 points from 24 on the road. More goal news from elsewhere on the final day of the Scottish Premier League season. And the Baseman boys, Aberdeen, are a goal up at Dundee. Harold Stavrum on target. It's the cup final, of course, for them next week. Naismith's throw, steered on by Jackson. Makel. McManus did well. Still going. Eventually ran into Flugel. Jackson. This is Severin. Oh. I bet he held that to the bubble.
Yeah, I don't know what he was trying there. He had Gary Naismith in support. Hasn't really been in it so far, Scott. Severin preferred today to Robert Tomaszek, who some might say is a more gifted player, but Severin gives Hearts something different, and this game will just be right up his street.
Hearts moved into third place in the middle of March. They've been there ever since, and they don't plan to relinquish that spot. And Lee Makel is going to get a yellow card for crudely taking out McManus.
That's a silly tackle, Ian. I don't know what he's about here. We don't get much later than that as McManus plays the ball away. And it's another player who's going to be walking on ice for the remainder of this game now.
Yellow card for Lee Makel. Once of Blackburn and Huddersfield and Newcastle. Now he's in Hugh Dallas's notebook. McIntosh and Brebner also booked for Hibs. Now what about this save?
Well, Gordon Petrix does well to win it in the first place. Jim Jeffries will say that's a bad miss, but for me it's a fine save from the keeper.
Well, he was at Chelsea, where he only managed to play one league game. Went to Bournemouth when it didn't really work out for him. But it certainly has worked out for him at Hibs, Nick Colby. Collins sending that one in. Vogel. Wanjo. Here's Hughes. Lovering. He might well be on his way in the summer. This is Murray. And that's going to be a corner. The big boys move in. Brebner sends it in. And Severin got it clear, but it's back by McGinley. And now Makel. Cameron. John Hughes barged into him. Could be a break on here for Hearts, though. Gary McSwiggan has it. Cameron's making a run through the middle. Wanjo is to his right, and that's where it's going to go, I think. Kind of. Flugel makes the run ahead. Wanjo can't really see an option at the moment. So he might go for it himself. He does! Oh, yes! A quite glorious goal from Guangzhou. And Hearts are heading into Europe.
That's a wonderful piece of technique here by the Spaniard. He appeared to have nowhere to go here, just checks onto his right side, gets away from Ian Murray, and he has the composure there just to pass that inside the right-hand post. A little bit of bend on it, didn't go for power, but he was precise enough to leave Nick Colgan without a hope there, as the Hibs goalkeeper at full stretch tried to get to it. But he couldn't have been more accurate, Guangzhou there. A wonderful goal, and you can see the relief there on Jim Jeffries' face.
Well, he's been a bit part player really in his time at Tynecastle, but the boy from Barcelona has scored a stunner. Hearts lead in the Edinburgh derby. Kenny Miller trying to get in, but Petric and Presley just about have it under control, although they are forced to concede a corner. A goal of the highest quality from Guangzhou. Another corner for Hibs then, and it was knocked down by Lovering, but easily collected by Atiniemi. What an effect he's had on this game, the 23-year-old making his first league start of the season.
Yeah, I was surprised when I arrived at the ground, Ian, and Jim Jeffries gave me his team. I have to say I was surprised that Guangzhou was in there, but he said he's been absolutely bombing in training. And this is an example of the confidence here. Just wrong foot Ian Murray. Could have gone for power, but had the composure just to tuck it inside the right-hand post.
Here he goes again, bearing down on the box. Flugel seeking out Severin, but that's going to drop behind for a goal kick. The UEFA Cup is beckoning for Jim Jeffries and his Jambos. Billy Brown is number 2 there.
Yeah, they're a step closer now, Ian, and Jim and Billy know that unless Hearts lose 2 here, they're home and dry.
Hibs, though, ready to give it a go again. And McManus, always taken out by Naismith. And that's going to be a free kick and perhaps a card? No card.
Yeah, good footwork here by McManus, who's had a fine game so far. Gary Naismith, I think, is trying to take the ball here, but he's just beaten by the speed of the footwork there from McManus. Gives Hibs a free kick in a position where they'd love to have Sozi around this one, but it's a chance nevertheless for Martin McIntosh to get a shot away.
I think Niemi's quite glad that Frank Sozi is not around. Hibs seeking out an equaliser with Martin McIntosh. It was superbly struck.
Yeah, not a bad effort at all, just wouldn't dip enough for him. But there's plenty of power on it, the ball is moving, it's trying to dip under the crossbar. Just not quite enough dip on it for him, but again you see the danger there from the power shooting of Martin McIntosh, and the message there for Hearts is, with this man around, they can't afford to give away free kicks in that kind of area.
Flugel. Guangzhou. Presley. Up towards Schwegen, who has been penalised. Top scorer for Hearts this season with 14. He was suspended at his former club Rangers last week. Here's Darren Jackson now. And in the end, he sent it straight through to Hughes. Patalainen on towards Miller. Stephen Presley in no mood to be beaten. Hearts fans are in full voice, and no wonder. They might just feel they were due a win. in the Edinburgh derby. Hibs will point to the fact that they have a lot of men missing for various reasons, including two men who really would have lit up this occasion, Sosie and Latapi.
Yeah, but I think they've done reasonably well under the circumstances, Ian. I think there's still a lot of work for Hearts to do here. Still in this.
Jackson. He's enjoying himself today, and Hogan saw it coming. Naismith. McSwiggan. Jackson. Makel. Naismith has continued his advance, but there's too much on it.
Yeah, I think you can see though that Hearts have relaxed a little bit, Ian. A bit of the pressure's off now, starting to play with a bit more composure.
Well, next weekend is some weekend on Sky Sports. We've all three pulsating playoff finals, starting with Darlington against Peterborough on Friday night. The playoffs do take a rest on Saturday, so all we can bring you then is England-Brazil on Sky Sports 2 and Sky Sports Extra from 2, or if you prefer, the Tennant Scottish Cup final, Aberdeen against Rangers, that's from 2:30 on Sky Sports 1. At the end of the season, but there's not much happening. Lovering's throw. Naismith. Petric, who's played in Glasgow, Dundee and Edinburgh derbies. Straight down the middle from Niemi. There was no one from Hearts straight down the middle. Severin's header. Murray. Patalainen. Hearts will know there is still a big threat from Hibs. They have scored 48 league goals this season, the Hibs. Only the Old Firm have managed more. McSwiggan helped it on towards Jackson, but it's within the grasp of Nick Corgan. Tynecastle, unsurprisingly, sold out today. Presley's conceded another free kick for climbing over Patalainen.
Yeah, I just wonder if McIntosh might fancy this one. No.
Collins whipped it in. Ooh, and Presley was on the end.
He's had a good afternoon so far, Stephen Presley. He's won just about everything that's been played into the box.
McGinley away by Presley. As if to confirm that point, he's popping up everywhere. Cameron. Wanjo. Cameron. McSwiggan. The 1-2 didn't come off, but it was a nice idea. Hibs' away form this season has not been great. Not that they've travelled far today, of course, but they've only taken 14 points from a possible 51 on the road, and only Aberdeen have picked up fewer on their travels. Patalainen. Brebner seeking out McMahon. That's a throw off Gary Naismith. Miller. Hughes. Niemi looked like he was going to get there. And did. McIntosh cleared. Michael Cameron. Here's Naismith. And he nearly managed to sneak in, but credit to Collins, although he has given away a corner.
Yeah, Naismith did well. Only one thing in his mind, to hit the byline. And enough physical presence there to win the corner from Derek Collins.
Darren Jackson taking the corner. In the corner where the Hearts fans meet the Hibs fans, so he's probably getting stick and praise all in one go down there. Jackson delivers, and Colgan not too convincing that time. Cameron drilled it back in. Jackson, oh, it's gone all the way through, and turning on it was Severin, another corner.
Yeah, good defending there by John Hughes, just stood his ground there as Scott Severin trying to turn. And Nick Colgan lost this one, comes all the way and he's never getting there.
Well, he has another corner to contend with. Hearts nudging ahead on corners, and they are ahead on goals. And they're going to get another corner on the other side this time. There'll be a slight delay because the ball has been booted to the other corner flag. He got it out to Wanjo. So everyone waits for the corner. Wanjo delivers. Severin. Oh, that's going to be a free kick, and it was a foul by Cameron on McManus.
Yeah, again, I think he's fortunate here and he's not shown a yellow for this. First of all, it's Scott Severin who gets to grips with McManus. That's a yellow card for me. Colin Cameron's fortunate there.
Just giving young McManus an introduction to the Edinburgh derby there, Cameron. Although I think you probably realise what it was like anyway. Kenny Miller. It was always going wide. Miller in the under-21 squad to face Wales and Northern Ireland in a forthcoming triangular tournament. Hasn't quite made it to the senior squad yet, but will do one day, that's for sure. Petric covering, taking the safe option. The home fans rather pleased that it's now their throw. Hearts firmly believe they can give the old firm something to worry about next season. Although Jim Jeffries pointed out they've got a better chance of getting closer to Celtic than to Rangers. Now McSwiggan is on the ground. Hugh Dallas checking that he was okay, and he is. Well, just. Throw-in taken quickly by Lovering, but Presley sorting it out once more for Hearts. Outstanding. Kicks every ball, Jim Jeffries, that's for sure, and did kick a few for Hearts in his time. Almost 350 games. McManus. And McManus with the cross. And with half-time approaching, Cameron. Oh, again, he's clapped it into McManus, and surely it's going to be a yellow card now.
Yeah, too soon after the last one, Hugh Dallas having none of it this time. And again, you see the willingness here of McManus to try and get down this right side. He's giving Hearts problems. Colin Cameron can have no argument with that at all, but previous to that, a wonderful delivery from McManus to the back post. Hibs having a good finish to this first half.
Well, he'd been asking for that, Colin Cameron, hadn't he? McManus certainly wasn't asking for what he got. Pat McGinley's going to retrieve this. McGinley's cross. McIntosh still in there. There'll be just a minute of added on time in this first half. Kenny Miller trying to inspire Hibs. But here's Makel. And now Juanjo, the goal scorer. Wigan didn't make the run that Juanjo expected him to.
No, exactly. He was looking for the long runner there. But this young man has provided the one moment of real class in the match, Ian.
Here's Murray. He's shaken off Severin, trying to put Miller in, but Niemi says, "I'll have that, thank you very much." And it's half-time at Tynecastle. A moment of individual inspiration from Juanjo has put Hearts well and truly on course for a place in the UEFA Cup. He had a good look around, a very good look around. Couldn't quite decide where to pass it to, so he decided to go for glory himself. And what glory. Rest assured, there'll be a lot more to come, though, from Hearts and from Hibs in this Edinburgh derby. But at the break, at Tynecastle, it's the Jambos who lead by 1-0.
More live football coming up for you next weekend. It's the Football League playoff finals on Friday. It's the third division final between Darlington and Peterborough. Next Sunday, Gillingham take on Wigan in the second division final. And next Monday, May the 29th, is Barnsley against Ipswich in the first division final. That's 3 Football League playoff finals. Big, big games next weekend, live only on Sky Sports. At Tynecastle, it's the final Edinburgh derby of the season, and it's Hearts who are one-up on bitter rivals Hibs, and of course that means right now they're on course for Europe. Juanjo the scorer. We've had 4 bookings in the first half, 2 for each side. Cameron and Mako, both of them hammering into young McManus of Hibs, both of them booked by Hugh Dallas. And McIntosh and Brebner of Hibs, both booked. So what of the first half? Well, Hearts have just shaded it, and as a result, they're one-up. And Juanjo, as I said, with the goal. And Charlie Nicholas, do you think that is fair at the moment, that Hearts are just ahead in this game?
I do, yeah. I think they've just edged it. I think what we expected at the start was Hearts to have a bit more tempo, a bit more desire about them. But sometimes it led to frustration, because if there's one thing been evident in the first 45, they've had the bulk of possession. Hibs are still in it because the counter-attack system, they still have enough pace, but the passing's been poor. Both sides have not really got any quality passing. So really down to the one individual piece of brilliance from Juanjo and a great save from Colgan. But I think Hearts have probably deservedly 1-0 up.
I tell you what, Charlie, Juanjo posted notice earlier on in this game when we moved in on Colgan, and Colgan brought off a magnificent
what a save it was.
save.
I mean, John Hughes doesn't do particularly well against Petric. But Petric does the right thing, knocking the back across goal, because he can't score from there. But what a save it is. I mean, they just switch off again defensively. Hibs, he takes a gamble, he gets in there, gets a touch, and what a save. You can see the left hand coming round. He can easily palm it back into the net, but he drags it back out. It's a great save, and you just thought then, you know, that maybe it would spur Hibs on to a little bit more possession, but as soon as they get it, they seem to be in a rush to give it away, and I think Hearts were doing that until they finally got that quality goal.
Before kick-off, Charlie, he was a surprise package, Juanjo, because we didn't expect him to start this game this afternoon, but he has done, and he's been the difference. It was a beautiful goal, wasn't it?
It was a great goal, yes. It was great individual quality. If you watch, it's the youngster Murray who gets dragged across, and he's doing nothing wrong yet, Jim, because he favours his left side, Murray. But he switched off for that split second. Look at that, just under 50 miles an hour, nearly 25 yards. It's a lovely finish. But if you look closer, the defensive set-up of Hibs there. It's McIntosh who dives in. If he wouldn't have dived in and stood up, he would have blocked it. It probably would have happened there. You see him diving in, but you can't take nothing away. It was a classy finish, right in the corner, no chance for Colgan.
Will Jim Jeffries be happy? Is it the ideal situation right now at half-time for Hearts?
I think so, because the goal has just eased the tone. You know, I think when we says that they would go out with the desire and the tempo would be to dominate, and I think they've done that in a way. But sometimes it causes your own frustration because you're rushing to get it forward. Now they can afford to be a little bit more patient, and I think he'll be relatively pleased so far.
Well, of course, it's the last Sunday in the league season in Scotland, and there's a full SPL programme this weekend. Those are the half-time scores elsewhere. At Celtic Park, it's Celtic 0, Dundee United 0. Ayo Berkovic had a penalty there. It was saved by Alan Coombe. It's Dundee 0, Aberdeen 1. The cup finalists Aberdeen, of course, Harold Stavrum getting the goal for them. It's Kilmarnock 1, Ian Durrant, St Johnstone 0. And at Fir Park, where Motherwell need to beat Rangers to have any hope of keeping in this European race, it's Motherwell 0, Rangers 0. But at Tynecastle, meantime, Hearts are looking good for that European spot. A point would do them, but they're on course for victory. Wanjo's put them 1 up. Hibs still want to have a say in this match yet, though. The second half is coming after this. Hearts under-21 team won the under-21 league in Scotland this season, and at Tynecastle this afternoon they've been presented with the trophy. Always a great sign, of course, for any club that young talent is coming through, and that is the case at Hearts. Robbie Neilson, the skipper, the Junior Jambos winning the under-21 league. Well, another 2 big matches coming up for you next Saturday at 2 o'clock. England take on Brazil, live only on Sky Sports 2. Live and interactive only on Sky Digital. And from 2:30, live from Hampden Park, it's the Scottish Cup final between Aberdeen and Rangers. So that's England against Brazil and the Scottish Cup final, Aberdeen Rangers, next Saturday here on Sky Sports. But at Tynecastle, it's the last Edinburgh derby of the season. It's Hearts Hibs, and Hearts are in the driving seat and on course for Europe. 1-0 they lead at the break. The second half now. Let's rejoin David Provan and Ian Crocker.
Cheers, Jim. Well, Hearts have certainly made hard work of clinching a European spot, but they're on the verge of it now. Hibs' season has more or less petered out since they lost in the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup to Aberdeen. But there won't be much evidence of it petering out over the next 45 minutes because they will have to give it a supreme effort. Nothing else will do against their city rivals. The second half of Hearts against Hibs is underway. Here's the man whose goal separates the sides, Wanjo. Cleared by Lothering. Stephen Presley has been in control for most of the game so far. This could be a bit of a loose one, though. It isn't. It's booted away by Naismith. Now it's with the other left-back, Lothering, seeking out Kerry Miller. Presley goes with him. Miller to Brebner. And back to Miller. And sliding in was Klugel. Sent into touch by McIntosh. Hibs have got a man down.
Yeah, I think it's Paul Lothering who's taking a silver up there.
So is Alex McLeish going to lose his unbeaten record in Edinburgh derbies? This is what happened to Lothering.
Yeah, he's at full stretch here. It's almost like the block challenge there with Scott Severin. He's at full stretch. It's the left ankle that takes a silver. Severin took a silver as well, but Lothering certainly the poorer of the two there.
Hibs are one of only 2 teams Hearts haven't beaten in the Scottish Premier League this season, the other being, guess who, Rangers. They might be about to put it right as far as Hibs are concerned. So Lothering ready to resume. Miller. Bremner. Now Darren Jackson's going to latch onto that. Here's Naismith. Cameron in a bit of space. Not a man you want to give too much space to. Naismith arrives on the scene. Seemed to take a bubble as it came towards him.
It's not a bad cut back at all. Once again, it all came from Colin Cameron, who allowed too much space, as you say, there on the edge of the box.
Wanjo putting the pressure on Ian Murray, but the Hibs youngster held on grimly, and a bit of calming down required here.
Scott Severin involved here latterly. And very scrappy down the left side here.
Vlogel's free kick, aimed towards Jackson. And he's got the free kick for the foul by Collins.
I think he's fortunate, and I think that in place for that. Just backs in. Well, perhaps Derek Collins' left elbow was a bit high there, but it gives Hearts a free kick in a terrific position here.
Cameron is there, as you'd expect, but it might be one for the left foot of Gary Naismith. Cameron actually summoned Naismith over. In the end, it's Darren Jackson. It's one of those that work 9 times out of 10 on the training field.
I think you get a free kick in that position, and you have to get a shot on target. You have to make the goalkeeper work.
And they wasted it completely, really. Hibs now ready to put up a fight. And Ian Murray. Severin just got something on it.
Tell you what, that's terrific defending by Severin.
Patalainen, though, teeing it up for McGinley. Now Kenny Miller. There is support there from Tom McManus. Away by Naismith. Hughes. McManus. McIntosh. Lovering. Up towards Patalainen. Away by Petric. Here's Vlugel. Wanjo. Vlugel spreading it. Naismith. Wanjo was too far advanced, and Lovering read the situation, but there's no way past Vlugel. Lovering's throw. He's picked out McIntosh, but it's now going to be McManus. It's a free kick that's going to go the way of Hearts. The deadlock's been broken at Celtic Park in the Scottish Premier League today. Now there's an unusual name. Simon Lynch gets the goal for Celtic. They've been giving a few youngsters a chance lately.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ian, that makes me feel my age. I played with his dad.
So it wasn't his granddad. Here's Makel. Away by Collins. Oops. Bobbled away from Naismith. It'll be a Hibs throw. So Hearts with a slender lead in the Edinburgh sunshine. Gary Naismith. Michael. McSwiggan. Michael. It's a little scrappy there. But here's McSwiggan. Now Jackson. And Cameron! Off target.
Yeah, managed to get in between McIntosh and Lovering here. Typical Colin Cameron run there. Again, it's going to take something very special to score from that distance with a header. Good ball in though. Much effort that Hearts have had in the second half. You do get the impression that Hearts now are quite happy to sit on this lead and try and hold what they have.
Brebner. McManus releasing Collins. McManus up towards Miller. Stephen Pressley not taking any chances. Brebner almost able to get it back in, but Naismith ensured that he didn't. Brebner. Collins cross, it's already veered behind. Goal kick. Alex McLeish just over a couple of years in charge now. He couldn't keep them up, but he brought them straight back, and he has great plans for the future. Patalainen rising. The beneficiary of that will be Ian Murray. But Flogel is coming back for more. Murray has skipped past him, though. And he's going to get a corner, is he? Not quite. Severin made sure of that. Lovering throw. Miller, and just wouldn't fall favourably for Hibs. Looked like a handball from Miller. It was.
Yeah, but it's been a slack start to the second period from Hearts team. It's always dangerous to try and sit on a 1-0 lead. I don't believe for a minute Jim Jeffries will have said to his players to try and sew the game up now, but I think subconsciously you tend to think, well, we're 1-0 up. Let's try and protect what we have.
Well, this is actually the first time in 6 games that Hearts managed to score a first-half goal. Here's Flogel. Ian Murray. Michael. McSwiggan. Ranjo lurking. Neither side able to get much of a grip at the moment. Severin's header. And Michael charges in. McSwiggan. But here's McIntosh. There's been another goal at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock looked like ending the season with a victory. Andy Smith has got what I reckon could be only his second goal for the club. They lead St Johnstone 2-0. So ahead for Severin. Rowan for Hearts. Miller. Patalainen. Bit of nutmeg from Hugh Dallas. Cameron. And Patalainen trapped the run of Cameron. Here's McManus. 19-year-old making his full debut in the Scottish Premier League. Collins cross. McGinley is in there. Oh, it's come off the post, and Patalainen does put it in. Miller couldn't quite score. Patalainen could, and Hibs aren't going to make it easy for Hearts, as you kind of expected.
Well, the game's right back in the melting pot, Ian. It was a break from young McManus on the right side, which opened things up for Hibs. When the ball does come in, plenty of green and white bodies forward. McGinley with a good knock across the face of the goal. Miller had time to take a touch, decided to take the early header, and Patalainen makes the most of the rebound off the far post here. Good header by Miller. Patalainen, the quickest to react. And Hibs right back in it, and really turning the pressure up on Hearts now.
Mixu Patelainen has scored his first goal away from home for 7 months. Yes, 7 months. And I'm sure that equaliser, news of it, will spread around Fir Park. And Motherwell are still drawing 0-0 with Rangers. Remember, if Hearts lose here and Motherwell win, it's Billy Davies' side who go into the UEFA Cup.
Stranger things have happened. 1-0 is never enough of a lead to try and sit on, and I think that's what Hearts have been trying to do. And this may force to go forward again.
I can tell you that Greg Strong has actually had a goal disallowed for Motherwell against Rangers. Disallowed goal for the man who's on loan from Bolton, but might be making a tournament move soon. 0-0 at Fir Park, 1-1 here. A point good enough for Hearts, but these are tense times all the same. Vogels cross, and Colgan didn't get there, but a free kick's been given.
Well, this happened in the first half as well here, Ian. And again, he tries to make the catch. He'd have been better trying to get a fist in this. Tries to make the clean catch. Petric is penalised. Once again, Nick Colgan looked uncomfortable coming for the cross.
Well, how those Hibs fans could love to deny Hearts a place in Europe. It's all about intense, fierce rivalry in the city of Edinburgh. Patelainen helping that one on. Here's McManus. Michael, though, releasing Darren Jackson. McSwiggan pointing to where he wanted it played, but here's Cameron. And it's not going to even reach McSwiggan. Lee Michael, now it will. McSwiggan has Naismith nearby. And now Jackson sets his sights on goal. Smothered by Colgan.
Yeah, decent effort by Darren Jackson, being closed down here by Martin McIntosh, but still managed to get plenty of power on it. And Colgan did well to get his body behind it.
As it stands at the moment, Hearts are going into the UEFA Cup. But it's going to be a crippling finale to the Scottish season, because should Motherwell manage to take the lead against Rangers and Hibs take the lead here, it could all change around. Certainly that equaliser has livened up proceedings even more. Not that they particularly needed livening up much. Jackson's cross, away by McIntosh. Here's Michael, handball. Or on the shoulder, was it? It was, by the look of it, because only a throw has been given. Another goal at Dens Park, and Aberdeen ending a dismal league season on a high 2-0 up. And Ian Jess has got the second for them. Dundee. So Hearts have a free kick. It'll be taken by Lee Michael. The Jambos looking to go back in front here. Michael whips it in. McSwiggan got a little touch. It's there. Gary McSwiggan celebrates, and Hearts are back on course for the UEFA Cup.
Well, he's hardly going to sniff all afternoon, Gary McSwiggan. It's a great delivery, and look at the pace on it. And the deftest of touches there is enough to beat Colgan. Good ball in. And McSwiggan just had to get a glance in that. Such was the pace on the ball as it came in here. And he does well up in front of John Hughes. Well, you can't blame Colgan there. Once again, the pressure off for Jim Jeffries.
The top scorer claims his 15th of the season. On his 50th league appearance for Hearts, and the UEFA Cup is where Hearts look like ending up. So Hibs joy short-lived. McSwiggan was suspended at Rangers last week. But he's back with a bang. And the party is back on at Tynecastle.
Yeah, it's exactly what Hearts needed, Ian, because the players were starting to look nervous. The supporters on the ground were certainly starting to get nervous. And this buys them a bit of crucial breathing space now.
Well, I know Jim Jeffries reckons that European football is such a help to Hearts in their efforts to catch up with the old firm. They will live and learn from their exploits in Europe. They're not there yet, of course, but they're looking good. Now, Jackson. Here's Juanjo. Oh dear. Cross to forget Juanjo, but he scored a goal, for remember, in the first half. Hearts have only lost 2 of their last 19 encounters with Hibs here at Tynecastle. One of them, of course, this season. And they were determined to claim that European spot in some style, and of course, equally determined to not go through the season without beating Hibs. Better late than never. Jackson. Karen Jackson's been in the mood all afternoon. Hearts are hungry for more. And the noise from inside Tynecastle now will be spreading across the wonderful city of Edinburgh. Juanjo. Remner, he merely set it up for Severin. And Flogel. I think he was going for goal then, but I'm not entirely certain. Makel's cross. That's a corner, knocked out by Collins. Darren Jackson will take the corner. And John Hughes met it. Here's Cameron. Makel. Colin Cameron. Juanjo. Flugel. Free kick, foul, Patalainen. Lee Makel took the free kick that led to Gary McSwiggan's goal. It's a very different part of the pitch this time, though, but Makel sends it in. Seeking out Petric, but it drifts behind for a goal kick, and we've more goal news for you. Starting in the east end of Glasgow, Celtic lead Dundee United by 2-0. Mark Birchall on target, and at Fir Park, Motherwell have taken the lead against Rangers. Kevin Toddle the scorer, but it won't be enough because they have to win and hope Hearts lose. Might not be enough unless things change around dramatically. Our Rangers heading for only their second defeat in the Scottish Premier League this season. Hang on though, here's Kenny Miller. McGinley lost sight of it. Poked away by Makel. Jackson. Some surge this, Cameron to Juanjo. Makel. Jackson. Naismith. Swiggan is there with him. Lee Makel. Flogel. Cameron. Oh, total miskick from Colin Cameron.
Yeah, but Hearts keeping possession a lot more than they were in that first half, Ian. It's vital that the Hearts, particularly the midfield players, now put their foot in the ball, don't give it away. They're well and truly in the driving seat now.
Hearts were always hot favourites for that UEFA Cup spot. Only they could throw it away, really, by losing this one. Motherwell had to beat Rangers. They're leading them at the moment, though, and I know Jim Jefferies will consider it's far from over yet. Hibs will be ever eager to put the pressure on their city rivals and to ensure that it's going to be an uncomfortable route to Europe if they're going to make it. Presley up towards Juanjo, away by McIntosh. Severin was alert to the possibility there. This is McManus, and Miller's onside here. Only Patalainen in the middle to aim at. Nobody else has arrived on the scene yet. Oh, it took a little deflection of Petric, but it's smothered by Niemi.
Yeah, Gordon Petric did just enough, but you see that the danger here for Hearts. Again, a lot of space in behind as Hearts were pushing out. Kenny Miller with the pace to exploit that space, and Petric does just enough there. Got to hand it to Jim Jefferies, Ian, still playing with 3 up. And he must be tempted at this stage, I would have thought, to either pull Juanjo off and bring Darren Jackson off the front, or even bring Tomaszek or Fulton on to sew the midfield area up. At the moment, he's set his side out in a manner which suggests they want this third goal to kill it off once and for all.
John Hughes. McManus shrugged out of it by Naismith, and I think that might have come off McManus. It did. Naismith is in the Scotland squad to face the Republic of Ireland at the end of the month in Dublin, and we'll be there for that one. And Craig Brown is watching here. Craig Brown doing a bit of radio work, slumming it today, checking out a few possibles. Juanjo. He's got the byline, but he has to settle for the corner.
Yeah, John Hughes did well here. I thought that Juanjo had skinned him here. John Hughes at full stretch. Managed to do enough. But he's really on the back foot now.
Hearts' 8th corner. Will be taken by the man who started the scoring today, Juanjo. Makel tried to slip Juanjo in, but cut out by Lovering. Miller. Makel. Well, I thought Makel had forced Miller into conceding the throw, but it's been overruled by Hugh Dallas. Cameron. Oh, he's taken out by McIntosh, who's going to be unfair. It's a second yellow card, and that means red for Martin McIntosh.
Well, that's a danger, Ian. You can't afford to miss time a single tackle if you're sitting in a yellow card. And he's well linked with the challenge as Colin Cameron bursts forward here, and he knew the minute he made the contact he was heading for the showers.
So Hibs are down to 10 men. And Cameron threatened to get away then as well. McIntosh knew exactly what he was doing, but he's paid the ultimate price.
Yeah, it was a typical burst forward by Colin Cameron. And a cynical challenge by Martin McIntosh. Seems Alec McLeish with real problems now. Cameron at full tilt here. Well, there's no argument about that. Hugh Dallas didn't hang about.
Knew it was coming, so Marty McIntosh. Hardly a difficult decision for Hugh Dallas to make. At Fir Park, look at this. John Spencer has scored against his former club, and Motherwell lead Rangers by 2-0. But Billy Davis and his boys need the 10 men of Hibs to turn this Edinburgh derby around if they are to sneak into Europe. Hearts haven't had much luck with their free kicks today, as Murray and Flogel collide, and Hugh Dallas desperately trying to get in and separate them. Murray seems to have a little pop at Flogel. Quanjo's cross. Jackson. Flogel. Jackson to McSwiggan. Here's Makel. Quanjo. Jackson. Makel. Quanjo, he's pushed that over the line. Paul Lovering squaring up to him, felt that the Spaniard took a dive.
Yeah, exactly, and he did feel that Quanjo taking a dive, and he didn't need much encouragement to go down here. Quanjo trying to go past on the outside there.
Well, he's got a yellow card for that, Quanjo, for his reaction. Hugh Dallas in his best Spanish is having a few words with him.
Yeah, Quanjo reckons that Lovering was leading with the elbow there, but it certainly wasn't enough in the challenge to make him go down in the manner he did here. You see Lovering's right hand is up high there, but well, that's a bit theatrical.
Well, Hibs have made a change, with young Alan Reid coming on for Tom McManus. Here's Cameron. McSwiggan. Quanjo. Makel. Hearts toying with Hibs at the moment, teasing them. Flogel.
Well, the supporters aren't happy, they want the ball in the box here, but there's nothing wrong with the way Hearts are playing at the moment.
Quanjo. Scott Severin. Naismith. Away by Hughes.
Hibs just can't get out at the moment. The ball out of defence isn't good enough. This is really when they could have done with someone like Soze to get him on the ball and build things from him.
One youngster has replaced another, with Alan Reid coming on in place of Tom McManus. Confirmation of that change. Reid also 19 years of age. Makel. Collins. Makel not giving up easily though. And it's going to be a throw to Hibs. Another goal at Rugby Park and a bit of a stroll on the last day for Kilmarnock. They lead St Johnstone 3-0. The Frenchman Christophe Coquard has got his name on the score sheet. Motherwell leading Rangers 2-0. But for Motherwell to get into Europe, they need Hibs to win here. And Hibs are down to 10 men. Now, assuming you've got the beers in, you won't have to leave your couch next weekend. We've all three playoff finals, starting with Darlington against Peterborough on Friday night. Those boys from Brazil move into Wembley on the Saturday. That's on Sky Sports 2, and for Sky Digital viewers, on Sky Sports Extra. Same day, though, if you prefer, it's the Scottish Cup final. Aberdeen against Rangers on Sky Sports 1 from 2:30. Can the Dons deny Rangers the double? Hearts are not far away from a place in Europe. Jackson, oh, the flag went up.
Yeah, it went up right away as well, Ian. I think it was the correct decision.
Hibs' last 4 games of the season have been away from home, so that work could begin on ridding Easter Road of its famous slope. And they look like they will end the season with 4 straight defeats. Hearts are going to bring on young Andy Kirk shortly as well. He has a golden touch in front of goal. Colgan's kick has gone straight to Scott Severin. Juanjo. Can he get past Murray? He can. Jackson. John Hughes launches it. Some tussle between Presley and Miller. And Miller showing his strength. Have Hibs got something left in them yet? Collins. Brebner. Away by Flugel. Who's there again? The outcome of that collision is a throw to Hearts. No, it's not. It's a throw to Hibs. But before the throw is taken, Darren Jackson is going to come off. And you can hear the reaction from the Hearts fans around Tynecastle. He's going to be replaced by the Northern Ireland international, Andy Kirk, who last played against Hibs in the Under-21 League recently and scored 4 goals against them.
Yeah, again, you have to say it's a very positive move by Jim Jeffries, Ian, who must have been tempted to throw on a midfield player. He got on an out-and-out striker, young man, future in the game.
He'll be 21 on Monday week, Andy Kirk. Remember the name because he's going places already in the Northern Ireland senior team. Gary McSwiggan, and immediately he's released Kirk, who would have gone down in folklore at Tynecastle if he'd scored them.
Yeah, I don't think he fancied it on his left side then. Had a chance to get a shot away there, tried to check back onto his right. He just came out a bit too early for him.
Now, Hearts all over the place here. Kenny Miller has it. Reed. First to it is Lovering, and drifts away from Miller and behind for a goal kick, and Kenny Miller bouncing the ball in frustration, but then decided it would be a good idea to retrieve it. Been another goal at Rugby Park, not for Kilmarnock this time though. Mark Miller's got one back for St Johnstone. Collins. Cameron, but Brebner could still be in. And Presley conceding the corner, might have had a free kick.
Yeah, it's a terrific afternoon, Stephen Presley. Hasn't lost too many of these throughout this game.
Ever present this season, Presley, for Hearts, and in the Scottish Premier League. From the corner, Lovering turns it over.
It's a decent chance there. He just drifts off Gordon Petric. And a couple of Hibs players unmarked. We're at a stage in the game now where Hibs really just have to get the ball into the box, forget about playing through the midfield.
Alex McLeish's unbeaten record in Edinburgh derbies could be about to fall as Grant Murray prepares to come on for Hearts, and Gary McSwiggan has just discovered that he's making way. For the game's decisive goal at the moment.
Well, last a bit of caution from Jim Jeffries. Grant Murray will come in and shore up that midfield area. Andy Kirk now on his own through the middle, Hwangjo wide.
Murray gets his first touch. It's not a bad one. Hwangjo helping it on. Ball cry more from the Hearts fans than anyone else. Pat McGinley got stuck in to Thomas Flugel. McGinley's Hibs career coming to an end. Flugel. Severin. Petric on the end of that. Grant Murray. Makel. Murray with a fine pass to Hwangjo. Flugel's cross, the flag is up for offside against Kirk. Referee lets everybody get on with it. Cameron. Hearts have done what they've had to do so far. The UEFA Cup spot is almost theirs. Just as well they've done what they had to do, because Motherwell have done exactly the same, leading Rangers 2-0. But Hibs will keep going right to the end. Murray. Lots of Hearts bodies back there, and no wonder. And now the break is on for Hwangjo. Hwangjo to Kirk. Tracked it wide.
Yeah, I think he's looking for a back post runner there. Colin Cameron just couldn't make up the ground though. Well worked move though by Hearts. Good diagonal run there by Kirk to get onto Hwangjo's pass. I think he's trying to find Colin Cameron at the back post.
Looks like Hearts are going to make another change in a moment, with Robert Tomaszek waiting to come on. But looks like it's going to happen right now. Lee Makel is going to come off, and on comes Tomaszek. And Lee Makel has put in a good shift, as you say up here, David.
Yeah, he's been tremendous this afternoon. It was always going to be a physical game this year. Makel's been up for it big time.
Slovakian international Tomaszek comes on. Inside the final 5 minutes, almost the final 4, Grant Murray. Flugel. Katalainen. Reed. Joined by Collins. Katalainen in there. Not many Hibs bodies waiting to pounce on the edge of the area, and Hearts rather relieved of that. This is Tomaszek. Now Cameron. Challenged by Hughes, giving Hearts a free kick, and the seconds tick away. Motherwell beating Rangers 2-0, but it doesn't look like being enough for them. Unless Hearts throw it away big time. Big time. Cameron's free kick. Petric there, and Flugel. And Juanjo nearly got another.
Yeah, Hibs just looking a little bit tired now, Ian. Numerical advantage that Hearts have now starting to tell. He's looking a little bit ragged at the back now, Alec McLeish's side.
Ian Murray is coming off for Stuart Lovell to join the fray for the closing stages here. Mid-table finish for Hibs then this season. Not bad considering it was on their return to the top flight after being relegated. But at one stage they threatened to do a little more with their season than that. It didn't quite materialise. Hearts having finished a disappointing 6th last season. Ready to clinch 3rd place this season. And look at the space they have here. Juanjo. Well, they had so much time on their hands, perhaps too much.
That's a good tackle there by John Hughes, but I really don't think Hibs have any gas left in the tank now.
Alex McLeish, a former manager of Motherwell, but unable to do them a favour today, it seems. Andy Kirk. Quite bring it under control. There will be 3 minutes of added-on time. Players coming back from an offside position. That was a poor kick from Nick Colgan, but it gives you the chance to name your man of the match, David.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the midfield area was always going to be vital in this game, Ian, and Hearts had to win their share of ball in there. And in that sense, Lee Makel was outstanding. Really did it when it counted, but I think even he has been surpassed by a man playing behind him today, Stephen Presley. Absolutely superb against Kenny Miller. He's my Bank of Scotland man of the match today.
Well, he's been outstanding all season. And he's probably not going to bother to come up for the corner as Hearts sit on a 2-1 lead. We are heading into the 3 minutes of added-on time. Juanjo. Somerset was trying to get on the end of it. So they are preparing to party down the Gorgie Road tonight. Motherwell pushing them all the way and seemingly becoming only the second side to beat the champions Rangers in the league this season, but not enough. Hearts have done the business. And that's why the scars are being waved around Tynecastle. John Hughes, oh, he sold Colgan a little short with that one, and Kirk was lurking. Lovering. Petric. McGinley. Time is about to be called on Pat McGinley's Hibs career. Away by Presley, the man of the match. Naismith. Hearts ready to end fears that they might have gone through the season without beating Hibs. Last time that happened was 1976-77 season.
Yeah, I think it's always nicer to clinch it on your own patch and in front of your own supporters. And it hasn't been a classic Hearts performance today, but the performance was always going to be secondary to the result, and Jim Jeffries knows that he now has that result in his pocket.
Just a minute of added-on time remaining. Andy Kirk battling with John Hughes. Wanjo. Cameron. Flugel. Motherwell have beaten Rangers by 2-0. An excellent effort from Billy Davis's team. Only the second side to beat the champions this season. But it doesn't really matter as far as the battle for a European spot is concerned, because Motherwell are going to remain 2 points behind Hearts, it seems. Lovering. Wrestled off in by Thomas Flugel. Seconds remaining here. Stand by for a huge, huge roar. Jim Jeffries has steered Hearts back into Europe. They've sealed a UEFA Cup spot, and they've sealed it in style by seeing off their Edinburgh rivals Hibs. Wanjo put them on their way, and although Mixu Patalainen scrambled and equalised for the Hibs, Hearts came back for more, and Gary McSwiggan glanced ahead at home, and that's why they are all smiles in this part of the Scottish capital this evening. The under-18s won the Youth Cup yesterday, beating Rangers 5-3. The under-21s won their championship, and the seniors have finished third, tucked in behind the old firm, and that, of course, is good enough for a place in the UEFA Cup. The final issue of the season is resolved. Despite Motherwell's brave attempts, it's Hearts who go into Europe, and Wanjo might be hoping for a trip to Spain out of it. A stunning strike. The first half goal, Hearts have managed in 6 games. There was a bit of a scare when Kenny Miller couldn't quite score, but Patalainen was there to make sure it went in anyway. But Gary McSwiggan glanced Hearts towards the UEFA Cup not long afterwards. Martin McIntosh was sent off. Hibs finished with 10 men. But Jim Jeffries will relish the challenge of perhaps pushing the old firm a little bit more next season, but also the challenge of European football. It finishes on the final day in the Edinburgh Derby. Hearts 2, Hibs 1.
A reminder of the 2 big matches coming up for you next Saturday. At 2 o'clock, England take on Brazil, live only on Sky Sports 2. Live and interactive only on Sky Digital from 2:30, live from Hampden Park, the Scottish Cup final between Aberdeen and Rangers. That's England against Brazil and the Scottish Cup final. Aberdeen Rangers next Saturday here on Sky Sports. Well, at Tynecastle, Hearts did what they had to do, a win over arch rivals Hibs, and that means they're in Europe next season, and they had to make sure. A draw would have done them, but Motherwell beat Rangers, but it's Europe for Hearts next season. Reaction after this. Tynecastle this afternoon, Hearts beat Hibs 2-1. That means they're in Europe next season, and they're celebrating that fact in some considerable style. Let's rejoin Ian Crocker and Davy Provin.
Thank you, Jim. Yes, I guess Hearts will feel they've won the league outside of the old firm, that is. And when you consider that things have gone so well at under-21 level and at youth level as well, there's every reason to be very optimistic about Hearts' future, Davy.
Yeah, I think they'll be the right manager in place as well. And I think if you look at the value that Jim Jeffries has managed to get out of the transfer market over the last few seasons, it's been remarkable. Bringing in the likes of Thomas Flugel here from the continent, one of the Bosman signings, but the likes of Darren Jackson, Colin Cameron, he really has used the resources that have been available to him very wisely. And I think this is their 4th top 4 finish in the last 5 seasons. And much of the success this club is achieving is down to this man and his number 2, Billy Brown.
It was a disappointing campaign last season, but since they won the Scottish Cup a couple of years ago and pushed the Old Firm all the way in the title race that season. They've had to virtually build another team, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think not just a team, I mean, they've built a real squad, and they had a very poor first half of the season by their own standards. But they finished this season so remarkably strong, and much of that was down to the calibre of player they could bring in when they had injuries.
Make a noise, the Corgi boys are up into Europe, is what the T-shirts say. Tell you what, they got them T-shirts pretty quickly, didn't they? I think they knew what they were going to do today, and they did it. And their efforts for the season over the course of 10 long months, fully appreciated by the faithful down the Corgi Road. A lap of honour from the heroes of Hearts, who will return to the European stage next season. Jim.
Seeing great scenes at Tynecastle there. Hearts 2-1 winners. Europe beckons for Jim Jeffries' men next season. Severin, Mikel and Wanjo were all booked for Hearts this afternoon. Brebner of Hibs was booked. McIntosh of Hibs was sent off. Hearts shaded it in the first half and they went in a goal to the good. Wanjo, the scorer, was 1-0 at half-time. And the second half, well, Hearts went for it big time because Hibs really were reduced significantly to 10 men, and as David Provan rightly said, there was no gas left in the tank and Hearts won it by 2-1. OK, man of the match, Stephen Presley of Hearts and his teammate Gary McSwigan are with David Tanner.
Gary, I know you've scored some important goals in your career, but that one will mean a lot to you today.
Yeah, it was vital the boys got the 3 points today. It wasn't just the fact of getting into Europe. We wanted to win it and do it right. I think it was a wee bit put in the papers through the week, and I think that was just the thing we needed, just to give us that extra wee bit incentive. So I'm delighted we get 3 points.
Yeah, one of the Motherwell players said that Hearts were traditionally bottlers. Did that really motivate you today?
It motivated myself a bit, so I think it helped some of the other boys as well. But in saying that, it was a derby game and everybody should have been up for it anyway.
And you had to do it because I don't know whether you know this, Motherwell managed to beat Rangers by 2-0.
Yeah, I heard that, so it's just as well we went about our business, never relied on Rangers. That was a bit of a turn up, but fair play to Motherwell, they made us fight right to the end, and I'm sure they'll be up challenging there next year as well.
Stephen, it was an important winner from Gary, we know that, but what was your view of the first goal scored by Wanjo?
Wanjo's a quality player, you know, he's capable of doing that. He's one of these players that can turn the game in a split second, and he certainly did that again today.
Because he hasn't always featured, but yet were you a bit surprised when Jim Jeffries had him in there up front, a 3 up front as well?
Well, we worked on it during the week, you know, and we worked hard on getting the ball out to Wanjo in these areas, and fortunately enough it paid off.
Great atmosphere in the tunnel behind us there. What was it like out on the pitch, and was it one of the toughest games for you personally?
Yeah, it was a phenomenal atmosphere today. Hibs worked extremely hard and made us fight for every ball today. They certainly didn't come here and lie down, and we had to work extremely hard for the 3 points today.
OK, fellas, well done. Enjoy your trip to Europe. And Gary, can you do the man of the match honours?
No, lad. Thanks very
Cheers,
much.
pal.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks a lot.
So Hearts did it when they had to do it, and Charlie, all credit to them.
Yeah.
How do you rate this achievement this afternoon, and how do you rate the achievement of Jim Jeffries over the piece?
Well, I've always liked what Jim Jeffries has been about. I like the way that he goes about motivating his players as well as himself, sometimes got to be said. And I think although he's got money, Jim, and he knew like, really at the start of this season he had a bit extra money, doesn't always guarantee you can go and get the quality you want because the prices all go up and everybody wants a bit extra. But I think he's had to be patient. I think there's a lot of the time that you've been looking for him to strengthen it, and he's done it slowly but surely. I still believe, though, that they really have an opportunity now to take it into the gap. They can close the gap in Celtic, possibly a bit on Rangers, but you know, I think Celtic should be their next target. But I think they have to start buying 2 or 3 other players, and if they can bring that in, then I think we will see Hearts progress, not before time.
OK, let's go to the home dressing room at Tynecastle. What is the game plan for Hearts? Let's hear now from Jim Jeffries. He's with David Tanner.
Jim, congratulations. How much did these players deserve that victory today?
Oh, they deserved it. They've been stung all week with the criticism that we were bottlers, but we weren't bottlers today because Hibs started the second half well, got a goal. So we came back and, you know, to come back and get the winning goal was great. And you know, once Hibs had a man sent off, it was just a case of, you know, if we could get another one to kill them off.
Thank you very much. That was Colin Cameron, your captain. I have to congratulate you there for managing to do that whole answer there without being interrupted by the champagne there.
No, it tasted quite well.
What about Europe now? What does getting to Europe mean to this club?
Well, we said in the first part of the season that we underachieved, and you know, we said the second part that you know, we had to go for Europe, and we were lower half of the league. So we've battled, and you know, okay, I'd admit that some of the games have been tough and we haven't played that well, but you know, at the end of the day, it's about winners, and we've got ourselves into third place. And once we got in third place, we were never put out of it. So credit to him, and we made the supporters sweat a wee bit in the last few weeks. And but what better way to do it than against Hibs? In fact, in front of a packed crowd, we hadn't beaten Hibs this year, so it was sweet revenge. And we said it'd be all the sweeter getting into Europe, so we're delighted to be there, and hopefully we can gain confidence now and go in next year and put in a better challenge.
Can I ask you how much Don Goodman's comments motivated all these players here? He called the Hearts people bottlers. In all honesty, you said it before the game, it didn't matter, but I've heard his name mentioned a few times in the last couple of minutes, so how much did that motivate Hearts today?
All he did was fire us up. We said the day was the shortest team talk we ever had, because there you are, there's your answer. So at the end of the day, you know, it just helped to fire us up. And we knew if we win, it didn't matter about the result, and that's the most important thing.
Do you like champagne?
No option now.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, David. Such a relief that David Tanner's hugely expensive Italian jacket hasn't been stained or damaged in any way in that home dressing room. Don Goodman, I wouldn't go through to the Gorgie Road in the near future if I were you. Hearts 2-1 winners this afternoon. A highly creditable performance by them, and they are in Europe on merit next season. Great stuff, Charlie. Great scenes there.
Well, they deserve it. I mean, I've waited a long time, a year and a half or so now, to get Hearts to start getting a bit of consistency. I think we've seen it probably a bit too late for Jim Jeffries' liking, although he'll take the European third place. I mean, I feel sorry, a little bit of sympathy for Motherwell. No disrespect to the Tenant Scottish Cup final. We expect Rangers will win that, but I don't think that the losers in a cup final like that should automatically get the European spot. I think it should go down to fourth in the Premier League.
Do you think the bold Goodman's comments spurred them into action this afternoon?
Well, I mean, it's a fair comment. If an experienced player like Don Goodman wants to make a comment like that because he thinks it's maybe a mind game that can maybe work to his advantage. I mean, at the end of this day, it hasn't worked to his advantage, but he's gotten 3 points against Rangers. Don't forget they've done their part. So, you know, that's the way that the football game is now. So, no, I don't think Goodman's concerned at all. It was all going to be about Hearts. That's what you've got to remember. And this game is going to be about tempo. I always felt, like I said at the start, that if Hearts are the team is together, if they start with this pacey game and the aggressive game, then you tend to see a decent performance. Petrik's header across, great touch from Wanjo, and it's a wonderful save. I can't criticise Wanjo at all for the miss. I know maybe Jim Jeffries would be hoping that the striker should finish here from 4 yards, but what a save. And you felt then that maybe Hibs could be inspired because Hearts had more of the possession, but their passing wasn't great, nor was Hibs. They were always a threat in a counter-attack, but down the right, I thought that's where the main dangers were. Little half chance again, little glancing header really from Wanjo, hard to put pace on it. But I think when you're Jim Jeffries, you were really wanting to get the goal, get you settled into a little pattern. I have to say again, the young lad, Murray here, he's got him in the favoured side. He knows he wants to cut back in it. McIntosh also. I don't know why he wants to rush in there because he's never really going to threaten much. To me, he dives into that and he simply lifts it over and bends it. It's a wonderful curling finish. You know, that's talent. He doesn't do enough of it. But, you know, Hibs came back in. They were never really out in the first half. It wasn't too far away, that effort from McIntosh. And I would say there wasn't great quality on show today. There was two teams full of passion, full of the derby spirit, which we all know. Wonderful header from Miller, and every typical striker, none more so than the experienced Patalainen. You gamble. You go in and you take that little gamble in there. That gives you enough, a yard to get away from Makel there. Watch this. Comes off the post.
And
it's first to react.
He's been there a while, Charlie. I mean, you know, we know
he
that
didn't do enough today.
Well, Hughes McGinley are going.
Yeah.
Patalainen may follow him.
Well, you know, I don't think he ever lets you down. He's exactly what what he wants to be as a target man. He's not very mobile. But I think, again, you know, defending, I've said that, I think that's really been Hibs' problem. I think they will look to strengthen there. And they don't hold on to their equaliser for long. It's a lovely free kick, no doubt about that. Darren Jackson's always had that quality in his locker. And McSwegan does well. Not great defending, but as a striker he gets across the defenders, little glance, no chance for Colgan, just like the first goal. And you have to say, I thought as soon as that went in, then Hearts just started to relax, and you know, you just felt then that they probably knew that they were there, and it was just about being patient, taking their time. And of course, when McIntosh had a wild lunge at Cameron,
he had to go, Charlie.
His timing was bad on that occasion. It was certainly a yellow card, and obviously had one previous, so easy red card for Hugh Dallas. And that's the problem that Cameron gives you, you know. And of course, as soon as he went down to 10 men, you always felt it's now in Jim Jeffries and Hearts team's hands, and I think they deserve it, Jim. But I'm hoping for more progress next season. Europe's not the target for them, it's closing the gap on the top two.
Well, Charlie, of course, there were 4 other games played in the SPL this afternoon. Those are the final day results. Celtic 2, Dundee United 0. Al Berkovic missed a penalty in this one. Simon Lynch got Celtic on the way there, son of Andy Lynch. And Mark Burchill got the second, 2-0. Henrik Larsson did come on, he did play insignificantly maybe. He threw his crowd into the, he threw his jersey into the crowd. Threw his crowd into the jersey? Dear me, what an afternoon we've had. Threw his jersey into the crowd at the end and everybody went for it, and apparently the stewards have rescued it. So 2-0 to Celtic, Dundee 0, Aberdeen 2. Aberdeen, of course, cup finalists against Rangers next Saturday. Stavrum and Jess getting the goals there, and that sets them up nicely for next Saturday. Kilmarnock 3, St Johnstone 2. A final day win for Bobby Williamson's men. Durant, Smith and Cocard for Killie. Miller and Parker for St Johnstone. And that one, at the end, at Firth Park, something of a shock. Motherwell 2, Rangers 0. Rangers, it's only their second league defeat all season. Twaddle and Spencer getting the 2 goals for Motherwell. But it wasn't enough because Hearts claimed 3rd spot. And that means they're in the UEFA Cup and not Motherwell next season. Rangers, of course, won it by a mile. Celtic runners-up. Hearts get that 3rd spot. Aberdeen finished bottom, but of course, as we now know, there is no relegation from the SPL this season. That's how it finished on this final day in the SPL. 2-1 Hearts this afternoon. Guy McSwegan got the winner. And when we come back, we'll have more reaction from Tynecastle. It's European football for Hearts next season. They beat arch rivals Hibs 2-1 at Tynecastle this afternoon. Wanjo set them on their way, and I think, Charlie, at the end of the day, were agreed. They deserved it. Yeah,
I don't think there was any doubt. I thought they edged the first half, Jim. I thought they looked the team. Of course, I mean, Hibs were struggling to put a full team out, but I think Hearts played the better football at times. But I think both teams let themselves down in the passing areas. But, you know, I think what Hibs had to really hope for was that they could get a lot of service into Patterline and Muller. They didn't really get a great deal to it. And their midfield was obviously a lot of young kids. But I have to say, I was refreshed to watch young McManus. He took 2 heavy slaps from experienced guys like Cameron and Mako in the first half. They got yellow carded for that. But the little lad dusted himself down, got back on with it, prepared to commit people. And I like to see that. So I like the look of him. I thought it was good.
Do you feel Wanjo has played himself into Jim Jeffries' long-term plans now?
No, I don't. Because there was about 5 or 6 occasions today that we actually seen Wanjo, and his final ball was disappointing. That's why he only started his first game of the season today. What you have to remember here is that it's quality, but he's not going anywhere. He's searching for a forward pass to move. Murray's got him. He's got him in a perfect area, and then he just lets him cut inside. Now, he already knew that was going to happen. Then McIntosh, watch him, dives in.
McGinley dives in, I think, Charlie.
Is it McGinley?
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, as McGinley dives in, if he stood up, he was probably hitting him with the ball, as you can see the angle there. But you cannot take nothing away from the lad. He is an individual talent, and when you can kill the ball with the precision that he could on that occasion, then you have to always think about playing this boy, but he's not done it nearly often enough.
It was a makeshift Hibs side, as you rightly say, Charlie, but it was a fighting one as well, because they got themselves right back into it.
Well, I don't think we can debate the derby in Edinburgh. You know, it's a passionate affair. We got a few heavy tackles knocked in early, but you have to look at Patterline back here. You know, there he's back, clearing the danger, getting it away, and then suddenly they're on the counter-attack. Now, Hibs have been saying all season, you know, they're very good in the counter-attack. They're an exciting team to watch going forward. John McManus, who I thought was exceptional today until he tired at the end. Patterline has made up ground. Good header back from McGinley. Miller does the right thing back across goal. And Big Mixu, you know, he isn't the most mobile, he's certainly not the quickest, but that desire to go and make up the ground, and you maybe get that bit of luck, falls his way, and it's a brave head on the end. It was a lovely flowing move. I think Hibs have done a lot of that and impressed me with that type of football under Big Alec this season, and I expect more from them yet again next season. But again, like Hearts, I think 2 or 3 players to bring in, and I think it could strengthen them, and I think we could see, again, a club making progress.
But Hearts knew to be safe, they needed to win it.
Yes.
They wanted to win it.
You can't take risks. I mean, the majority of the time today, you're thinking Rangers have to win. That's the way they had to think that Rangers would beat Motherwell today. It's a quality cross. There's no doubt about it. I think Hearts showed enough, and even when they got that equalised, they were quite quick to respond. Lovely glancing header from McSwiggan. I don't think Big Alec would be too pleased with his defenders allowing him that type of room. But
No
as a
chance
striker,
for Colgan, is it?
but if you're getting that type of cross, it's actually Lee Makel's cross. If you get in front of defenders and you get that touch, you don't need power. Colgan, no chance. It's a quality goal.
Well, last day disappointment for Hibs and Alex McLeish. Let's hear from him now. He's with David Tanner.
Alec, you had so many players missing today. Did you expect much more than that?
Oh, it was an outstanding performance from the guys. Very spirited. Some plus points with the emergence of the young players. McManus was terrific. Really proud of them, pleased with them, and I thought, you know, we were going to take something from it. At 1 each, we went for it, and it's a quality goal that's beat us. Great delivery, free kick, and a fantastic centre-forwards goal by McSwiggan.
What about your young players in midfield? Will we see more of them in the future over the coming years, would you say?
Yeah, well, Tom McManus is actually centre-forward, but today he was getting the ball wide and he was going at Gary Naismith, and I thought he gave Gary a very hard time of it. But not only Gary, but he was getting round other players as well, and he's put a delicious ball in just before half-time, and a Hearts' desperate lunge on the line has saved a certain goal from Mixer's head. Great, I'm really pleased that we've had a solid return. Could have been better. I mean, you're talking hair's breadth between us, and I know it's a points gap between us and Hearts, but a lot of the games have been very close, and if we'd taken points here and there, I know teams will say that in general over the course of the season. I genuinely feel that we were a hair's breadth from an excellent season, but all in all, it's been a good season and we must build on that.
I mean, it's remarkable that we haven't really mentioned very much this season that you were in Division 1 last year. I think everyone really has forgotten about that because of your performances. Have you been aware of that? Has it perhaps been better than you might have thought?
Yeah, it has, but you've got to remember, we've got players like Soze and Latapi who can put their foot in the ball, who can pass it, who make a wee difference to us. Let's be honest, they're quality players. And I wasn't surprised. I thought we could take it by still. We'd be a breath of fresh air to the Premier if we were positive, and we have been. And last 2 weeks were not the standards I expect at Hibs Football Club, but today was.
2 players at least bowing out. Mr. Hibs, your skipper, Yogi Hughes, and also your longest-serving player, Pat McGinley. Would you care to pay tribute to them and offer them hope for the future?
Absolutely. You know, they'll go and they'll be a breath of fresh air to some other teams. And you know, Yogi's a bit of a colossus today. I thought he was excellent. He's got a massive heart, and it's a lesson to everybody out there. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have a heart, then you'll not get anywhere in the game. And John Hughes is the epitome, and Pat McGinley, of people with fantastic commitment. And of course, we wish them all the best, as we do Olega Skalks and Michael Rennick, who are also leaving the club.
Alec, hard lines today, and enjoy the summer break.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, cheers.
Good on him. Alec McLeish with David Tanner. Charlie, what do Hibs take out of this today, do you think?
I think hope for the future, Jim. I think, you know, looking at people like McManus in particular, Miller we know about, I think they're learning. I think they're growing up and maturing. And, you know, I think that's what I look from it. I think not just the spirited side, but I think Alec has been touching on the attacking policy. When you're missing players like Soze and Latapi, you're going to be missing your best quality players, Jim. And today they showed enough for me to say next season, enjoy your rest, but next season it's about progress. And I think under Big Alec, they will make that.
Well, McLeish there described John Hughes, the departing Hibs skipper, as a colossus. Let's hear from him now. He's with David Tanner.
Yogi, that was your final game, playing for the team that you've supported since you were a lad. How do you feel after it?
Yeah, I'm a little bit gutted that result. I wish we could have sent the fans away with a winning result, and that would have meant that Hearts hadn't beat us this year. But it was not to be. But I've enjoyed my time at Hibs, and I've got a lot of happy memories.
What about the game today? Do you feel as though that you could have taken more from it?
Possibly, but once we got Big Martin sent off there, I think we were fighting a losing corner. But I felt we didn't pass the ball. We didn't pass the ball at all when Hearts did, and I think that was the difference.
What's you can see from me there's champagne all over my suit. That's obvious what's been happening in the Hearts dressing room. What's it been like inside the Hibs one after that?
Nah, the boys are down because they wanted to. There's 4 of us leaving: Rennick, Big Ollie, the goalie, me and Pat, and they wanted to give us send us off with a win, but it wasn't to be. So the boys are a bit down, but I think they can be happy with the season they've had, and they've got a lot to build on for next season. And with the gaffer's ruthless in what he's trying to achieve, and I'm sure that will be successful.
You say he's ruthless, Alex McLeish. He's just had some kind words for you on our programme. What kind of manager has he been for you?
Oh, he's absolutely tremendous. I've really enjoyed working with him. I've learnt a lot off him. He's a centre half. He's very critical. His centre halves. And as I say, I'm getting on, but I was still learning off him. Just his wee traits, and you want to know something. See, when you play 5-a-side, the guy can still play. If he could still run, I'm sure he'd be playing in the Hibs team.
And briefly, you're not playing for Hibs next season. Which club will you be playing at next year?
Well, Bill McMurdo. I've got about 3 or 4 on the go. And Bill McMurdo's my agent, and hopefully, now that we've got the game out of the way, we can start talking to a few clubs.
Yogi, good luck.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
They'll all be after Yogi. He's on his way. Charlie, he's a great ambassador for the game. He typifies real fighting spirit, doesn't he?
Yeah, I must admit, I was a little surprised when he went to Celtic, but I could see why Celtic went from Jim, because he has that total commitment and desire to do well. He's an ultimate pro, and like we said at the start of the show, I think John Hughes is the type. He doesn't necessarily need the pace anymore for the modern game, because it's about his commitment, his timing and his organisation. He's got that in abundance, and I think physically he looks great, so I think another 2 or 3 seasons for him.
Good luck to him. Well, that's it from us for this afternoon. Goals on Sunday tonight at 9. We'll be looking back at the FA Cup final and the final day's action from the Bank of Scotland Scottish Premier League. We'll be reviewing the Scottish League season on Inside Scottish Football from 6:30 on Sky Sports 1, and that's on Tuesday. The next live football on Sky Sports is on Friday, the 3rd Division playoff final between Darlington and Peterborough from 7 on Sky Sports 2. And on Saturday, an incredible choice of live football. From 2 on Sky Sports 2 and interactive on Sky Sports Extra, it's England against Brazil. And from 2:30 on Sky Sports 1, the Tennant Scottish Cup final. That's Aberdeen against Rangers, the last game of the domestic season in Scotland. That was it. Hearts beat Hibs 2-1 this afternoon, and that means Hearts are in Europe next season. Well done to them from Charlie and me. Bye for now.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.